mostly clear skies, lights on, and the sunsets have become so much earlier as we head to this 14th of September. Take a look at the starting lineup for Tampa Bay, brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Bartlett, Crawford, and Longoria, Zobrist, Richard, and Zahn, Iwamura, Upton, and Brignac. Evan Longoria, second in the American League with 103 batted in.
Take a look at our PNC scouting report on the 24-year-old right-hander out of Sacramento, California. Well, get back on track. 0-3 in your last 3 decisions. 7 home runs allowed in the last 2 starts. Gary Thorne told you to try to keep it in the ballpark. Just had trouble doing that. And then slow them down if they get on the base. They have over 100 more stolen bases. They lead the American League in stolen bases. So try to keep the Uptons and the Crawfords and the Bartletts off base. Not always easy to do, even though they really struggled when we talk about the Rays. 8 runs in their last 7 games on a way to 11-game losing streak.
And we are ready to go. David Hernandez will take on the designated hitter who's batting in the leadoff spot. That is Jason Bartlett. Take a look at Bartlett's numbers on the season, and a good deal of those have come from the games he's played against the Orioles, hitting .394 against Baltimore. And he will foul that one away, and a 2-strike count. David Hernandez will also try and get through the all-important first inning, where the Orioles have struggled mightily this season against opponents and falling behind games early, and never easy to play come from behind baseball. The 0-2 delivery to Bartlett, and foul back into the screen again.
Yeah, got away with a hanging breaking ball right there, but you like the fact he's thrown 3 pitches. They've all been strikes. Rick Kranitz, the Oriole pitching coach, saying you got to establish something down in the zone. He did not do it against Boston. 4 home runs in his last start.
0-2 delivery on the way, and that'll be inside. David Hernandez has given up more home runs per 9 innings pitched than anyone else in the American League. 21. That's an average of 2.3 homers per 9 innings. 1-2 delivery on the way. Bartlett will take that one inside, and the count is evened up at 2 balls and 2 strikes. It's a Tampa Bay team that's fragile right now, losing 11 in a row. It's the longest losing streak that these players have had to go through with Tampa Bay, and the longest for Joe Maddon's time there. Foul back. They really have scuffled trying to get something going. Joe said all the little things we got done last year we're not getting done this year, and they're not hitting a lick during this streak. They're averaging only 1.1 runs per game in the 11 games they've lost. 2-2 delivery on the way. Fastball's up high. Hernandez doesn't want to lose him here as the count goes to 3-2. David against his Tampa Bay team has never faced him before, so new for both pitcher and hitter. 3-2 delivery, and he gets the ground ball to third, foul. It'll stay at 3-2, and Bartlett already has forced Hernandez to have to throw some early pitches in the game.
Yeah, they haven't thrown anything down and nothing away. But again, now all of a sudden 3-2 with a guy that can steal bases. Comes in with 24 steals. You better throw a strike.
He does, and it's another base hit. And Bartlett continues to tear up the Orioles. He gets the single, and now you get talking about speed, as Jim was. Carl Crawford, speediest man on this team, who just may set a new personal record for stolen bases before he is done, and he's in a race for the league lead in that department.
Yeah, Jacoby Ellsbury of the Red Sox with more, but again, an awfully good number. Made the great catch in the All-Star game that garnered him the MVP award.
Crawford will take the pitch on the outside corner. You would think, with the Tampa Bay team struggling offensively as they are, with the speed they have, and guys like Crawford who can handle the bat, that you might see Joe Maddon put this team in motion.
Well, a lot of people think you don't need to do that. He said it causes all kinds of havoc for the defense, especially the pitcher. They don't run a lot on David Hernandez. Only 9 attempts all year long, but again, I mean, this is part, when you're not scoring runs, they can do this better than anybody in the American League, which is steal bases, and you have the guy on base to do it.
Kyle Crawford will take the pitch away. Crawford has been struggling. He went 1 for 11 against Boston. Batting average has dropped in quotation marks to 300. He's hit only 157 since August 21, covering a 19-game span. 1-1. Bartlett leaning. not going, and Crawford will take the pitch outside for a ball, 2-1.
Yeah, I think a lot of times, or at least early on in the inning, if you're Joe Madden or any manager, you say, well, you know what, I'm going to give Crawford a chance to hit the ball into the hole. Good pitch right here. I can't imagine they're going to hit and run. There's no reason to force Crawford to swing the bat here, but take advantage of the hole even though he goes.
Runner goes, and that's going to be in the hole for a base hit. Bartlett's on his way to third, and Tampa Bay starts it out getting runners at the corners with nobody out. Let's check in with Amber.
Well, Gary, Jeff Fiorentino gets a start in center field. Again, Felix BA has missed his third consecutive game with back spasms. So Felix telling me he is feeling better. He did do some running and catching before the game, and Dave Tremblay hopes he'll be back in the lineup tomorrow. But Felix said this injury couldn't have come at a worse time. He was batting .324 in his last 24 games, and he said, hopefully I'll still be hot when I get back out there. Dave Tremblay did say they're no longer considering bringing up another outfielder because they believe this will be a short-term injury, even if Felix isn't quite ready tomorrow. Gary?
And it is a tough time for Felix Bae to have to watch. Strike on the outside corner. Here is Evan Longoria. He is second in RBI, seventh in home runs with that 30 total. He too has hit well against the Orioles this year, hitting .326. Runner goes down to second, fouled off. That will bring Crawford back. So Madden's going to get him going here and try and get some runs early. There's the RBI leaderboard with Mark Teixeira of the Yankees on top. Jason Bay, Morneau, and Pena, of course, is done for the year, all having passed the century mark. Longoria and an RBI opportunity early, 298 with runners in scoring position. There's still nobody out. Crawford goes, swung on a miss. Wieters throws through, not in time, and it will be a stolen base for Carl Crawford. And again, he got a good jump. Runner has to stay at third base, though.
Yeah, Matt Wieters is going to take a little glimpse right here and come up, and you can see Brian Roberts in front of the bag looking. No chance, 57. And there we talked about far ahead. I mean, the Angels will run you out of the ballpark, hit you out of the ballpark. And then the Rangers, of course, will bomb you out of the ballpark. But this team does a little bit of both.
Longoria, the pitch is going to be taken away. A great chance now for Ben Zobrist. Longoria out of there on the called strike. Hernandez gets one big out, but now you got to come back and face Zobrist, switch hitter with power, and down to first base and foul. He's hitting .393 against the Orioles this year and has 3 home runs. Zobrist has had a sensational season, getting an opportunity to play. He is super utility man, making the start in right field, where he's played a lot this year.
Yeah, made his first All-Star game. Of course, Joe Madden, the manager.
That ball's going to be hit in the air, not deep. Runner will tag Bartlett. Here is Fiorentino. Here comes the runner, and here comes the throw to the plate. It will not be in time. Going to third base, nope. Going back is Crawford. So a sac fly picked up by Zobrist. And a 1-0 lead for Tampa Bay.
Yeah, that's where you really miss Adam Jones. I mean, he probably will run anyway because of Bartlett's speed, but Adam Jones, good chance of throwing him out because, again, he's got such a strong arm. They take advantage of the less than, I guess, stalwart throwing arm of Fiorentino. I mean, Jeff made a great play in right center yesterday, but just doesn't have the arm strength as Markakis or certainly Adam Jones.
There are 2 down now, and a chance for Hernandez to get out of this, only giving up a run. Crawford on at second base. Here's Chris Richard. Well, we talked about the Orioles in the first innings. And not pretty for them. 5.92 first inning ERA, next to last, or the second highest, if you will. Only Detroit has given up more first inning runs. 1-0 delivery to Richard. That ball's going to be off the fist. Popped up first base side. Wigginton is under it, and he's got it. And a good comeback by Hernandez. A run in on a couple of hits with a base runner left on here at Camden Yards. We'll check the Orioles lineup when we come back. Let's take a look at the starting lineup for the O's, brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Roberts is Torres, Markakis, Raimo, Mora, and Wieters. Scott, Wigginton, and Fiorentino. Raimo, last road trip, a solid one, hitting .316 on it.
And our PNC scouting report on the tall lefty out of Vanderbilt. Price isn't right on the road. Boy, has he struggled. 6-3 at home. Low ERA, questionable command in the sense that he throws a lot of pitches. He's up there at the highest, if he was eligible with innings, most pitches than anybody else in the American League when it comes to starters. But again, trying to figure it out here at the major league level. Only 23 years old, 4-2 in his last 7 starts. He did face the Orioles. Hernandez, as you mentioned, Gary, had never faced him, but back on the 18th of August. Pitched 5 innings, 7 hits, a couple of runs. Did get a win as the Rays hung on to beat the Orioles 5-4 in that game.
It will be his 3rd career start, 2nd this year against the Orioles. And Price can oftentimes tell with him early on whether he is on it or not. If he is, those pitches will be on the corners like that one and down. 1 strikeout, Brian Roberts. Brian leading it off against Price, 1 for 3. 4th and tied for 4th in runs in the league, and still 1st in doubles in the American League, Brian Roberts. And that is another called strike, and Dale Scott, the home plate umpire, looks like he's going to have a fairly low strike zone.
Well, he certainly did there. Got a slider, he's got a changeup. Probably the changeup is the better of the two, as he misses with that fastball at 92. Now, the word was that he, at least in college, pitched in the upper 90s. I haven't really seen that. Doesn't mean he can't be effective, throwing anywhere from 92 to 95.
Roberts 282 off the lefties, 286 off right-handers, and Brian will step out here with a 1-ball, 2-strike count. Two teams who have played even Steven, 5-5 on the year. Here's the 1-2 delivery on the way, and Roberts will take that one inside. The Orioles continue to see left-hander after left-hander. They're 21-31 against left-handed starters. The Orioles as a team, a .254 average against left-handers overall, and .277 against right-handers. 2-2 will be looped the other way, and that'll be a foul ball, and it'll stay at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Yeah, the problem for the Orioles is that a lot of the power numbers go down. They've hit 36 home runs against left-handed pitching, 103 against righties. Now they've been up about twice as much, but again, the number's still down. You know, Nick Markakis, he hits lefties, but again, 4 of his 16 home runs are against left-handers. So against, again, slugging percentage down. It's hard to generate as many runs as you would like.
2-2, and Price is going to miss outside. Price has had his problems with the walks. 46 walks under 2 innings, 87 strikeouts. He would like to have a ratio a little bit better than that one. A lot of people on base since he gives up a hit an inning. Grounded to short. Now is right where Brignac had been playing. He regroups and gets the out. Well, a congratulatory note right at the beginning of the ball game. Cesar Torres. Cesar Torres is going to play in his 1,000th baseball game tonight. This will be it. That is a real landmark for a guy who's given the Orioles the solid defense they needed up the middle in the superlatives, and at the plate has done a whole lot better than many thought. And congratulations to him for reaching a 1,000 game mark. As Torres will take the pitch outside for a ball. He's faced his Torres 3 times. His Torres against Price, 0 for 3. Here's the 1-0 delivery on the way up the middle, hitting on the back of the leg. Longoria run and throw, and got him. What a fine play by Evan Longoria on a bang bang, and now the question is whether Price is all right.
Yeah, comebacker gets him somewhere on the leg, and then Longoria, I mean, Evans going to just not hesitate at all. You don't make this play. Yeah, that's got the shoe. Watch him come swooping in, and then I guess he was out. Looks like it was very, very close. John Shelby, Orioles first base coach, was hoping they'd get the call.
Well, the manager is going to come out and have a word here as well with Rob Drake, who is the first base umpire. And that's a delayed entry onto the field, and not happy with whatever was being said. apparently about maybe what was being said to John Shelby. I don't think the argument's really about the call. He didn't come out to argue that. He argued what was being said afterwards.
Yeah, I thought it was a tie, to be honest, and obviously you'd like to get the call.
Very close.
Yeah.
Very close.
And of course, you know, obviously D-Bones, he's rooting for a base hit. Why not?
Absolutely. Price seems to be okay. Madden went out with the trainer and had the look-see. So there are 2 down, nobody on, and that'll bring up Nick Markakis. And Nick will take the pitch away for a ball. Nick has gone 2 for 5 in the times that he has faced Price. Magnificent season. 93 RBIs Nick's put up so far. He'll reach the century mark. Nick right now is up among the leaders in hits. He is 5th in the league. Ichiro's got 200. Nick's got 174.
Yeah, he'd like to get to 200 for the first time in his career.
Down low and a 2-ball 1-strike count. Nick is 8th in multiple game hits this season. He's also among the leaders in doubles. His 42 ranks 6th in the American League. 2-1 delivery. Markakis will take it down low from Price, and a 3-ball 1-strike count.
Yeah, I think the one number that mystifies everybody, especially even Nick, is the walks. They're down this year. 46. Not like he didn't have Huff hitting behind him, most coming off leading the league in extra base hits.
And another one. So Markakis on with 2 down.
Take a look at the Rays defense. Very fleet of foot. Crawford and Upton, they can run them down. Zobrist, as Terry Thorne told you, plays all over the place. And right tonight, Longoria, potential glove guy. Brignac at short. Iwamura, who came back from the knee problems, awfully good second baseman. Chris Richards, who we saw in the Oriole organization, and then the veteran Greg Zahn behind the plate.
And here is Nolan Reimold, runner on at first base. More and more Reimold's name comes up with the discussion about Rookie of the Years in the American League. He certainly is putting up numbers for consideration in that department without question. Maybe as a position player, maybe the #1 candidate. Probably 4 rookie pitchers that are going to get a great shot. And in September, he certainly hasn't earned his cause. Oriole rookies in September. Nolan Reimold is right up there among the leaders. There is the rookie leaderboard with Reimold, Beckham, 2-0 delivery foul back. Porcello, of course, is the winningest rookie pitcher with 13. But only Al Bunbury at 409 and 73, a higher average in a rookie season for an Oriole. Hale, May, Murray, Brooks Robinson, the leaders in that department for the O's. 2-ball, 1-strike delivery, and that's be up the middle for a base hit. Price has got to be wondering if he's wearing the North Pole sign and the ball's a magnet.
Well, that's your hitting approach. Doesn't mean you're always going to do it. Hit it back up the middle. And again, any ball that's to the other side of your glove hand, very tough to catch. You have to reach back, hit sharply. He had some really good at bats over the weekend. Even yesterday made a couple of outs, but to the deepest part of Yankee Stadium. So Nolan Reimold just keeps plugging along.
Reimold's got a 5-game hit streak with that single, and the Orioles, trailing 1-0 and 2 down, have a chance here. Get right back on the board in the first inning. Here is Melvin Mora. Melvin's got an 0 for 3 in the times he has faced Price. And we'll take the pitch for a strike on the inside corner while we're handing out congratulatory cadeaux. Here's one for Melvin. All-time games at third base. Melvin passes Doug DeCences with this ball game. 793 second behind Brooks. And that one is hit in the air to center field. Bad jump up, and he's not going to get it. Markakis will come around, throw to the plate, off the mark, and this game is tied. Mora delivers the RBI single to tie it up.
The outfielders will tell you that a lot of times it is very difficult on a big swing, but the ball off the end of the bat to get a read. I think that's what happened. Ball just hit in front of him. Upton plays very shallow. Not a very good throw. Didn't get on top of it. Sails away. And of course, Nick Markakis, because it's 2 outs, going to score easily. Tie it up. A couple of youngsters on the mound giving up runs in the first.
Nick Markakis crossing the plate. Melvin Mora getting the RBI with the single. Orioles have runners at first and second now, each team with 2 hits in the ball game. Melvin getting his 42nd RBI. And swung on a miss by Matt Wieters.
Yeah, we're seeing a little more firmer fastball. Through 196 to Melvin. A little more what I think everybody talked about when he was the #1 draft choice a couple of years ago.
Wieters 0-1. And that is a strike taken. This Tampa Bay team is really down. I mean, after the miracle season, going from worst to first last year, and now being officially eliminated from any chance of repeating as a division champion, and they're not going to go back as a wild card. This club has really been scraping the dirt. 0-2 delivery. You want to jump on him, and that's what Wieters does. Making the turn, Reimold. Here comes a throw to the plate. They got to play. Zahn can't handle it, and a run will score. Reimold goes back and touches home just to make sure. RBI picked up by Wieters, and the Orioles have a 2-1 lead.
Well, awfully good hitting right there. Just sliced it. And there's a strong throw. I think Zahn thought the only way he can catch it, and you can see the short hop, is to try to catch it. He doesn't do it. Goes for the tag. It's a phantom tag because he doesn't have the ball. So Reimold looking where to go. Give him the outside part of the plate to make it 2-1 Orioles. Nice hitting by Matt Wieters.
27 RBIs for Matt Wieters, and this is his 77th game. And he goes down to second on the throw. Melvin Moore is at third. Here's Luke Scott, the designated hitter. And Luke goes to third. That is a great stop. Longoria throws to first. One hop, and it gets away. 1 run is scored. Second run coming. Throw not in time. And the walls keep crumbling on Tampa Bay, and the Orioles want to pile it up as high as they can. 2 more score.
Yeah, they're going to score anyway, but Longoria, I mean, watch this play. Right down the line, looks like it's going to be a double. Fantastic play. He had a lot more time, I think, that he thought he did, but right there you can see Chris Richard came in the other night, made an error up in Boston, and right here, very tough play. I would imagine this would be a base hit and then an error because the runners advanced, but a great play by Longoria. Base hit for Scott. The Orioles with a couple of more runs to make it 4-1.
1 RBI for Scott. The other will score on the error. And that'll be fouled off by Ty Wigginton, the 8th batter to come to plate here in the inning. Credit Luke Scott with his 67th run batted in.
8th hit of the year to left field. Nice to see. Well, what a play by Longoria.
A tremendous stop. You're right, Jim. If he'd have just taken his time, he probably could have made a throw up in the air that could have been handled. Wigginton, fastball by Price.
You know, you talked about how they're struggling, lost 11 in a row, but they lost their best defender, or at least one of their best defenders, and their home run guy in Carlos Pena, because Pena probably catches that ball. I mean, he's as good as anybody over at first base. And Chris Richard, he was with us. He was an outfielder, first baseman. Not that he can't play first. Doesn't play it as well as Pena.
That one hit in the air to right center field. On the attack is Upton. Upton going back near the warning track, and he hauls it in. But 8 come to the plate. 4 runs on 4 hits and an error, and the Lumber is making some sweet sounds for the O's. 4-1. has runs to work with as we go to the second inning. 4-1 Orioles on top, and Greg Zahn will stand in. The former Oriole traded over to Tampa Bay at a time when they hoped he was going to help them in their drive for the postseason. He certainly has done his part, hitting .300, 2 homers, 10 RBIs since joining the ball club on August 8th.
Yeah, I mean, you lose at 11 games. You go back 11 games ago, they were 72 and 60, still in the wild card. I mean, not exactly where they want, but they weren't looking at the Yankees defending their division, but they certainly had an outside chance.
It did change in a hurry. On August 7th, they were 2.5 games down. Since then, they have gone 12 and 22 and are 12.5 out. 1-2 delivery on the way. And right now, the wild card, Boston is in a very favorable position. They won a doubleheader yesterday. Texas split a doubleheader with Seattle. And now Texas 4 games behind the Red Sox. 2-2 delivery on the way. You talk about a hellacious week. Zahn is gone and dropped the bat. Wasn't real happy with that call strike.
Well, he'd been catching some low strikes against the Orioles. Now this ball is probably, but again, I mean, what I like about it is David Hernandez has finally, here in the second inning, thrown a low pitch. He knows he needs to do it. His pitching coach has told him. I have certainly told him. You know, I didn't forget that. Just figure out what it takes to get the ball down, because his stuff is so much better. And the reason I say that is that because when he gets the ball down, he's got a better windup. He throws the ball through the hitter to the catcher. When he spins out, velocity goes up. But all of a sudden, no strikes, no finish, and a lot of times that's where he's been getting hurt.
Akinori Iwamura standing in, the second baseman for Tampa Bay. Missed 81 games, knee surgery. That was one costly loss for Tampa Bay. He will take the pitch up high, and the count goes to 2 balls and 1 strike. Hernandez facing a hitter who's got a 4-game hit streak, as Iwamura has come back and hit well. Grounds that one to Brian Roberts. Over to Wigginton, and there are 2 down here in the second inning. Orioles Masson have teamed up for some great tickets for you. Masson Maximum Access, they're only $1 upper level, and they're available first come first served. You got to get them in advance, at least 24 hours, and only online at Orioles.com. Dollar tickets available for Wednesday and Thursday. They are going fast. Orioles.com. Masson Maximum Access $1 tickets. Grounded towards third. That's going to be a base hit. B.J. Upton hardly moved a muscle in his body doing that. Did he move anything other than the bat?
Well, that's probably a good thing.
Got a base hit.
Well, he struck out 144 times. I mean, that's just as good a player as he can be. He certainly hasn't been it this year. He's coming off about 4 games ago. He hurt his right ankle, and he had the left shoulder injury. You looked last year where he went from 24 home runs to 9. If you looked at the playoffs, you go, well, even though he's going to have shoulder surgery, he's getting back to being healthy. He hit 7 home runs in the postseason. Stole a bunch of bases. He stole 44 last year. And certainly here is capable at 37 to steal one here. I don't think they're going to stand around very long at first base.
2 down. Brignac. Reed Brignac called up from AAA September 3. It is his 3rd stint of the year. He hit .282 in 96 games at AAA with 8 home runs and 44 RBIs. First season major league opportunity came this year, and that first time up. Brignac 1-0 delivery to him, and he launches one to right field. That ball is way back at the wall. Markakis, and goodbye home run. And David Hernandez, who has seen so many fly out against him, sees another one go, and that makes it a 1-run ball game. It is 4-3.
Yeah, you get a young hitter to the big leagues. He's looking for a fastball. I'm sure the scouting report is that David has made a lot of mistakes in the middle of the plate in hitters' counts, and that's what this is. 91, not 93, not 95. I think Nick Markakis thought he might have a chance, but the ball just doesn't come down until it gets into the seats to make it 4-3.
Brignac gets the homer. Most home runs allowed, 9 innings. David Hernandez has done it. And look at that one, brought to you by Northrop Grumman, the Information Systems Powerhouse.
Well, that gets him right back in the game. And what you would like, and when you talk about those shutdown innings, is Boy, they get you 4 runs, come right back, try to get out of the inning without giving up any. Couldn't do it.
That is the first major league home run for Brignac in his 24th game, in his 67th at bat. A 376-footer puts him in the HR column forever. Back to the top of the order, Jason Bartlett. Bartlett's going to put one down the line in left field. Reimold going over to get it. Bartlett will make a turn and head to second base. Here's Reimold's throw, not in time. And Bartlett is 2 for 2. And the potential tying run with 2 downs on at second base. And for David Hernandez, what looked like an inning where he had a chance to get through it with the first 2 outs and a strikeout and a ground ball has disappeared.
Well, he gave up the 2-out base hit to Upton. That's the way the Orioles started last inning, 4-run inning with a 2-out walk, and then unable to make a good pitch to Brignac. 1-0 behind him. Ball up to Bartlett.
Now still trying to find it, and that pitch crossed up Wieters. He started up and then had to go back down. Carl Crawford a single and a stolen base his first time up. RBI opportunity, 1-0 count with 2 away. Hernandez shot foul, that was away. There you see the active franchise leaders. This is all time for these particular franchise. Jeter just past Gehrig. Ivan Rodriguez because he got traded back to Texas. Todd Helton in Colorado, and Carl Crawford is the all-time leader in hits at Tampa Bay. They are the only 4 active players to lead their franchises in all-time hits. Swung on and missed by Crawford. And a 1-ball, 2-strike count. He's got the runner out there that could tie it up in Bartlett, who's got great speed. Hernandez 1-2. And Crawford fouls it back. Hernandez, the home run department, has now given up 8 home runs in his last 7 1/3 innings. And there's the man who got it, Brignac, the number 9 hitter, their shortstop. Here's the 1-2 delivery. Had to wait on it and popped it back. That will be a souvenir.
Yeah, Carl Crawford was looking for number 14 on that hanging breaking ball. It's about location. It's about location and good hitters preparation, because when you are not making quality pitches, they know about it. They know about it as the game proceeds. They know about it because of their advanced scouts, all the films available. So they're looking fastball, and unless you get the ball out the middle of the plate, that's what they're going to get to hit.
1-2 is ripped. It is a fair ball. This game's tied. On his way to second base is Crawford. He's going to think about 3, but he'll stay as Markakis gets it in. A double with 2 down for Carl Crawford brings Bartlett home. And after the Orioles got 4 runs in the first inning, Tampa Bay has come right back with 3 in the second to tie it.
Well, watch this hanging changeup. And again, quality pitches. It's right down the middle, belt high. Wigington ball hit so sharply, even if he was a couple of steps over, right over the bag to tie it up 4-4. Rick Kranitz out to talk to him. Oriole bullpen, 43 runs in the last 47 innings. So if you're Dave Tremblay and you manage the Orioles, which number are you going to choose? There's 12, what, I guess 13 of them out there. It was going to be 15, but Louis Har's gone home. Nicolayo's gone home.
David Hernandez, the struggle. Crawford gets his 62nd RBI. He's 2 for 2. So Bartlett and Crawford at the top are now 4 for 4 combined, with 2 runs scored and an RBI. And now you got to face Longoria. Strikeout victim, his first time up. The off-speed slider is taken away. Evan Longoria, 30 home runs. Always a danger to try and pop one. Longoria holds up on that. Longoria's had 4 home runs here at Camden Yards in his young career. He's a .269 hitter here in this ballpark.
Well, he's so strong, and you think he's a pull hitter, but he can spray it all over the place. And if you don't make your pitches, especially a great high ball hitter, but 30 hits to right field, 54 up the middle, and then 60 to left. So he's sprayed the ball around, maybe not as much as Mark Kakis. But again, out over the plate, he can hit the ball a long way.
Here's the 2-1 delivery to him. Longoria was going for a long way and missed it. And the count is 2 balls and 2 strikes. You know Tampa Bay, for the 4-game set here, desperately wants to end this 11-game losing streak. The longest Joe Madden has ever suffered with this ball club. 2-2 delivery, and he went around on that one. And Hernandez gets the strikeout, his third, but big home run by Brignac, Crawford RBI. This ball game's tied. Leading the way to the strains of All You Need Is Love by the Fab Four in New York. Everywhere you looked and everything you heard was about the Beatles. Here's Fiorentino, who's coming up. He has been hitting the ball hard, he is one of the players that at this point of the year, it's a look-see. It's does he fit? Should he be here next year? Well, he's making a case. 313, 4 RBIs, 3 runs. Fiorentino's chances have come because even though third on the list to play center, they've reached that point with Adam Jones out, PA out. So an opportunity. 1-0 delivery, and he will take the pitch for a strike.
Yeah, Adam in the Oriole locker room may still be there, but hobbling around, getting treatment on that sprained ankle. That's PA right there, I believe, with the back spasms on Friday night. Easy to get back spasms if you were playing that night. A couple of hour and 16, 24 minute rain delays.
That may be a fair ball.
Up, foul.
Made fair by Richard, who reached in. He wanted it to be fair, so he made sure he gloved it and pushed it towards the line and gets the out.
Home plate umpire's call. Now, does he get it before it's hard to tell there.
See the first base umpire trying to help because I think the home plate umpire was blocked by the runner. The runner and the first baseman all came together there, so Rod Drake helped out. Fiorentino retired. Brian Roberts lashes that one back into the seats. Brian grounded out his first time up. So Tampa Bay already in 2 innings have quadrupled the number of runs they've been scoring per game over the last 11. David Price gets the game tied up again. Fouled away, and the count's 2 strikes. For Brian, going after an elusive mark of 60 doubles. If he could get there, it would be the first time since 1936 that a player has reached that mark. He's got 51, tying his own franchise record, and has hit so well against the Rays. 341. 0-2 delivery and a chopper to the middle, and that's going to be a base hit. Price can't believe Roberts was able to drive that to the middle. On Friday, don't miss the first ever interactive Oriole Park scavenger hunt presented by AT&T. And your Birds take on the Red Sox 7:05 game. First 10,000 fans 15 and over are going to receive the Orioles canned Cozy Koozie with instructions on how to play this unique text to win experience. Tickets start as low as $15. To get yours, 888-848-BIRD, to go to Orioles.com. And orange to boot.
Yes.
Yes. Cesar is Turris, and the inside out pop up to short. Brignac handles it. 2 down. Price gets 2 with Nick Markakis coming up, and Brian Roberts still on at first base.
It's not that the Orioles really batted David Price around in the first, but the 2-out walk to Nick Markakis started it out. Reimold ground ball, Mora ground ball, Wieters ground ball, Scott ground ball. And then with an error, 4 runs scored.
One of the runs unearned. Markakis, the fastball by Price will miss up high. Nick Markakis against the lefties, hitting .272. Better against the others. They be right-handers. .324. 1-0 count. And that is taken for a strike.
And that's why when you get one of those Robinson Cano numbers with 10 home runs against left-handed pitching, pretty unique. Not that many lefties, unless you're, the David Ortiz's when he's at the height of his game, which is no longer the case, that you see left-handers really hitting for power against left-handers.
Luke Scott has been the leader for the Orioles. He's got 8 home runs against left-handers. There are 3 Orioles, Reimold, Markakis, and Jones, who have 4. But Luke Scott, of course, a left-handed hitter with 8 against him.
Well, you were doing the Met games when Darryl Strawberry was in the zenith of his career. He could do it. When some of those years he hit 38, he could hit those left-handers.
Well, I think everybody was afraid to come inside on Strawberry, so he always was able to get the arms extended.
That's what he wanted to do. Yeah,
smart. 1 ball, 1 strike count. Throw over again. Brian has taken a very short lead over there.
Yeah, David Price certainly does not have a good move that I've seen. I've seen him a couple of times.
Base stealers 7 for 11 against him. Zahn has thrown out 22%. Greg Zahn is doing the catching. Markakis foul tips into the mitt, and a 1 ball 2 strike count on Nick.
I would think the difficulty is and there are the numbers. Again, a lot of RBIs. The average not bad. It's just home run production goes down, but that's pretty normal. With David Price, he is 6'6". I'm going to see Neiman tomorrow at 6'9", but he changed his speed with his fastball. I don't know if he's trying to do it on purpose, but the velocity goes up and down.
Right there
on the block.
He got him. Price will get his first strikeout. Markakis retired. No runs on 1 hit with 1 left on base in a 4-4 game.
Brian Mattis up at Yankee Stadium over the weekend, and after Saturday's game, Mattis told me that he watched Tillman on Friday. He said, I was rooting him on, I wanted him to do well, and it made me want to go out there the next night and do the same or even better, and that's exactly what he did. So we're starting to see that inter-rotation competition start to heat up with these young pitchers, and as Dave Tremblay said, that's a good thing, because the first pitcher in a series sets the tone for the rest of the series, and if he has a good game, nobody wants to let the team down. Nobody wants to be that weak link. So they're going to want to go out there and top that performance. And Jim Palmer on a rotation with 4 20-game winners, I'm sure you know a thing or two about that type of competition.
Yep, you wanted everybody to do well, and you wanted to try to do a little bit better.
It's great.
And they did.
Yeah.
Actually won more games than I did.
Push, push, push.
Yeah. Well, and I think there's the other part of the equation, I think, is in the formula of having good team pitching, is that if you don't pitch well in your night, you know the other guy's going to pick you up. And you learn from watching the other guys, whether they're lefties or righties, changing speeds, pitching both sides of the plate. I mean, if you're a young pitcher, if you're David Hernandez and you watch the way Brian Mattis, I mean, really dissected the Yankee lineup, and that doesn't happen very often in Yankee Stadium on Saturday, you learn something. You know, change speeds, pitch out of the middle of the plate, use all your pitches, throw strike one.
2-2 to Zobrist, and he is gone. Zobrist out of there. Dave Tremblay talked about the shutdown of Brian Mattis, who will not be pitching again for the O's.
We have shut him down for the rest of the season. His throwing will stop. He won't do any more throwing. He'll still stay with the ball club for the remainder of the season. There's some things that Rick Kranitz wants him to work on. Different arm slots, delivery, holding runners, this pickoff move, this and that, but just minor things. But he won't do any throwing. And Andy McPhail and myself and Rick Kranitz were in on the meeting this afternoon, and it's the right thing to do for Mattis, and it's the right thing to do for the Baltimore Orioles.
So Brian Mattis will not be pitching again this year. Swung on and missed by Chris Richard. Richard popped out his first time up. And on our pregame show, Jim and Rick were talking with Andy McPhail, president of baseball operations, and he again reiterated the standard on that is did not want pitchers to go 20% more innings beyond the most they'd ever pitch. And that's where Brian Mattis was at, and so that's why they shut him down.
Yeah, I don't know the exact number. I know he has about 157 innings this year, but I would imagine, though, he pitched more than 150 innings in college when you take the inter-squad games and all that kind of stuff. But it seems to be, especially when you're coming off that kind of performance, better to be safe than sorry.
Yep.
And, I asked about David Price, Jeff Neiman, who we're going to see tomorrow. And, Price, of course, they wouldn't let him throw more than 85 pitches when he started out in the minor leagues this year. That wasn't the way the Orioles handled Mattis, but as Andy McPhail said, he didn't think he's going to be here as soon as he was.
Injuries forced the
really.
hand of the Orioles to have to call up some guys like Mattis ahead of time. They otherwise would have stayed down in the minors longer.
Where the intentions after Price, who's pitching tonight for Tampa Bay, after he pitched in the bullpen, was to use them in no more than 85 pitches and then bring him to the big leagues as a starter.
1-2 delivery, and that's going to be into right field for a base hit. Chris Richard is on with a single here in the third inning. Ball game tied at 4-4. One down, Richard on, and Greg Zahn called out on strikes. He is coming to the plate.
Yeah, even Richard got a changeup that just ran back into the middle of the plate, and that's been the problem for Hernandez tonight. I mean, Brignac, that's the one guy you don't want to take you deep, and he did. He got him back into the game, and when they hit the ball hard, not a lot of mystery to it. It's not down, not off the plate or on the corner or in or out. Down Broadway.
Hernandez has not won in his last 5 starts, taking 3 losses and 2 no decisions. He comes off the loss against Boston, just 2 2/3 innings, and he gave up 6 runs on 4 hits, allowing the home runs, RBI homers, a grand slam, and 2 solos, 5 total. 0-1 count on Zahn, delivered to him. That fastball is there for a strike, and it goes to 0-2. Zahn has had some of the great facial expressions of the season for Dale Scott, the home plate umpire. He got called out on strikes his first time up and just dropped the bat.
Well, I really like Greg Zombie because I know he battles, and he's not the most gifted physically player. He's really had a nice career, but he knows what he's calling and what he isn't, and then he rolls at that pitch. So you're behind the plate. You've seen the fact that Dale Scott's going to call some low pitches. So it's not like it's a big mystery to him. And then watch this. Here's your late light. Down, down, and then zoom. You got to look to left. I saw Clay Dalrymple do that off of Gossage. Swung when the ball was in the glove, but then he looked to left like that was the intention. Of course, it was strike 3, so he had to come back to the bench.
And you're going in that direction.
Right,
anyway.
exactly. You got to look like you're trying to go that way.
Exactly. Akinori Iwamura. Already 6 strikeouts in the ball game for David Hernandez. He has struck out as many as 7. That came against the Yankees 2 starts ago, and he's had 1 6-strikeout ball game against Oakland.
But the pitch count at 63, so you need a couple of easy innings.
Iwamura grounded out his first time up, and will take the pitch away for a ball. Since coming off the DL, he has started 12 of 18 games at second base after that knee surgery. It kept him out for virtually all of the season here prior to end of last month. Here's the 1-1 delivery. Iwamura will watch that one away. 2 ball 1 strike count. Chris Richard is on at first base. Ball game is tied. 4 runs, 7 hits, an error for the Rays, and the Orioles are 4-5-0. Each team has left 2 on base so far. Iwamura swings and misses. 2-2.
Yeah, they keep throwing him changeups. They got him to roll over, and bounced one to Brian Roberts at second base the last time. But he's hit 1 home run in 194 at bats. But he's looking for a ball to drive, not for home runs, just gap.
2-2 delivery to him, and that one will be fouled off the other way. He has that Ichiro swing. It almost looks like you're bailing out sometimes and swinging off your heels, but both he and Ichiro have been able to do that and still hit the ball hard.
Yeah, the way he mastered it, Gary, was he moved up on the plate because he was bailing out but standing way off the plate. It didn't work early last season. Steve Henderson, their batting instructor, said, hey, if you're going to go towards first base, at least get closer to the plate. I mean, it is a very similar style to Ichiro.
Should mention, we talked about only 4 active players lead their franchises in hits. Ichiro, you may have noticed, was not on that list. He does not lead Seattle in hits yet.
Edgar Martinez?
Edgar Martinez is still their leader. Ichiro's moving in on him and will ultimately probably have that mark, but for the moment it's still Edgar Martinez, the all-time Seattle hit leader. A 3 ball 2 strike count. Richard will be running at first base. Wigginton playing behind him with the left-hander up. Richard's got an enormous job. Swung on, hit in the air to left on a line. Adam Ball to Reimold, and he's got it. No runs, 1 hit, couple of strikeouts. It remains a 4-4 game with the Orioles coming up. Nolan Reimold, Melvin Morath, and Matt Wheeler. Appreciation night here at Oriole Park. Season ticket holders, several of the Orioles minor league affiliates are going to receive discount on tickets, and any fan wearing the logo of one of the club affiliates will receive $5 off any regularly priced ticket for the game against the Rays. That's Wednesday. Hope you'll come and enjoy it. Minor league style promotions, mascots, and more. 888-848-BIRD or Orioles.com. 1954 from Memorial Stadium when the Orioles came. The original foul pole that was at Memorial, transplanted and still in use here at Oriole Park at Camden Yards. David Price, a walk and a strikeout. Reimold singled and scored against him. Nolan goes down to third with this one. Longoria gets the big hop. One down. We go to the bottom half of the third inning, game one of this 4-game set. These teams are going to play 8 times between now and the end of the season. 8 times in 19 games remaining for Tampa Bay and 20 for the Orioles. They're going to see a lot of one another here, as the Orioles are going to make a trip south for a 4-game stand in Tampa Bay. That pitch to Melvin Moore is taken down low. Jason Birkin's going to go tomorrow against Jeff Neiman. Chris Tillman, Andy Sonnenstein on Wednesday, and Mark Hendrickson and Wade Davis on Thursday. All night games. First pitch 7:05. Moore takes it up high.
And it's going to be a tough 8 games, because even though they've lost 11 in a row, statistically, even though Pena's out of the lineup, they're ahead of the Orioles in just about every important category. But to me, it's okay. If you're building, and that's what the Orioles are doing. I mean, there was an article today where Tampa Bay says, well, we think we're still going to win the division next year. What are they going to say?
Well, I hope they say that.
Yeah, they say that. And I actually thought they were going to be I don't know if they'd won more games. We were talking about it with Joe Madden today. I said, I don't know if they're going to win more games, but I thought they'd be a better club. It just didn't turn out that way.
Nope. One thing, the Yankees were a whole lot better than anybody even thought they could be.
Yeah,
Mora will foul it off.
Yeah. Do you think that maybe the fact that, and those are the numbers we showed you in our opening, and they're a lot better than last year when the Orioles only won 3 of the 18 games played.
A whole lot better.
I don't know if I factored in the fact, well, I knew that the Yankees were going to spend about $450 million and try to get the best position player and 2 of the best starters in Sabathia and Burnett.
Ball's going to be popped up towards second base. That's Iwamura. And Mora is retired.
Yeah, I don't think you want to get the Yankees angry.
No.
Out comes the wallet.
And they buy somebody else. I mean, I picked them to win and the Red Sox to be the wild card team. I just didn't see how Tampa Bay could come back. I just think it's so hard for teams, unless you are loaded like a Yankee team. A team like Tampa Bay, a team like the Florida Marlins, teams at Colorado, teams like that have those miracle seasons, as good as they may be, they're never going to be able to go out and buy what's been bought by the likes of the Yankees. You see the World Series teams not in the playoffs the next season, which is what Tampa Bay is going to be. Detroit, Chicago, Anaheim, Toronto, Cincinnati, and Los Angeles all were teams in the World Series, and the next year did not go back. It's a very tough thing to do. The Yankees are the last team to go to the World Series back-to-back. That'll be played by Price, makes the underhanded flip, and will get the out on Wieters. A 1-2-3 inning with a ball game that remains 4-4. at Oriole Park at Camden Yards. 77 degrees, clear skies at game time, virtually no wind. And showed bunt and went after it.
Not really.
No?
I mean,
half-heartedly?
Yes.
Okay.
He wasn't even close to, but he got Melvin in, not for long, because he's still now 3 steps. I mean, it was, I'll square around, maybe a little late.
See if anybody's watching.
Right.
He ranks 5th in the league in strikeouts with 144, taken out of the leadoff spot August 4 after playing 96 straight games batting leadoff. 1 ball, 2 strike count.
Well, his hitting instructor, Steve Henderson, still doesn't think that front shoulder, and he heard it last year in Baltimore, has healed from the operation, not at full strength, and that's the tremendous part of hitting, that front arm.
That one is ripped towards the corner, and goodbye home run at the 333 mark, and just enough to get over the wall. The second home run given up by Hernandez in the game, and it is a 5-4 Rays lead.
Wow, what a rocket that was. Well, maybe the shoulder did get better. Does he get to this fastball that's down and in? You can see Matt Wieters reach for it, and it just sizzles into the seats. Not by much. Ooh. Injury. Oof. Injury timeout by that fan. Took it off the leg.
So Hernandez continues to give up the homers. Just cannot seem to stop the flow. That'll be the 10th home run delivered by Upton. And it'll be Ryan Bass in the bullpen. This has really been tough for David Hernandez. I mean, right now, David Hernandez is pitching himself out of a chance to be in the Orioles rotation in the future. He had a great opportunity to pick up a spot to show that he deserved consideration, but these games have all started to look alike.
Yeah, and I mean, it's frustrating for everybody, and especially him, because it is a great opportunity. But at 20, just turned 24, and he makes good pitches. There's one, but I'm not sure you want to have to keep throwing 2-1 changeups and whatever. To me, it's just about command. I mean, they give you the ball, can you keep it out of the middle of the plate? And it becomes very predictable when you don't. There's another changeup, because we've seen probably the attempt to use all your pitches tonight. He's hung some breaking balls. They haven't been hit, but the changeups have.
He hasn't walked anybody, and he struck out 6, not 5 in the ball game. But
he's wild in the strike zone.
Yeah. 3-2 delivery on the way, and that's going to be a gapper. Brenyak, who had a home run his last time up, gets a single.
And I found, Gary, and we look at this Tampa Bay ball club, they're a young team, and young teams, when you're high draft choices, they drafted you because you can hit the fastball. So when you get into the fastball counts, even the veteran teams like the Red Sox, they look for it because they're taking all the other pitches out. Until you prove you can get me out with something else, I'm looking fastball. But these young guys, and Brenyak is certainly one of them, he's all over the fastball, and it was again in the middle of the plate. But
out to draw time right there is Wieters to get the bullpen ready. Brenyak, the most innings by starters. The Orioles are dead last. White Sox, Jays, Rays, Sox, Royals. The Orioles, though, 772 innings, the fewest innings pitched by starters this year. And Hernandez is close to coming out of this ball game. The bottom and the top of the order, they're everything tonight for Tampa Bay. Upton's batting 8th. He's 2 for 2. 2 runs scored, an RBI and a homer. Brignac's batting 9th. He's 2 for 2. 2 RBIs and a homer. Bartlett, the leadoff batter, is 2 for 2. And Crawford, the number 2 hitter, is also 2 for 2. And that will be it. Bass getting enough time out in the bullpen. Another 2-homer ball game. That'll be 23 home runs surrendered by Hernandez this season in 85 plus innings worked. Tremblay is just waiting and making sure Bass has time to throw some more pitches. That's an agonizing moment for David Hernandez, who would just like to get out of here. So the Orioles will make the pitching change here. 3+ innings worked by Hernandez. He could be the loser in this, as Tampa Bay has taken the lead in the inning on the home run by Upton.
Probably even more frustrating. He had a 4-1 lead, so worked very hard on trying to command his stuff. Couldn't do it. So Brian Bass, who last pitched Tuesday night, he came in, gave up a couple hits and a walk, and then had to leave. Alberto Castillo came in and got him out of a bases loaded situation. So it's been a little bit of a struggle. Pitched well early on, and then they had to overuse him because of what we showed you early on, the lack of innings from their starters. So again, good stuff, bad command. So it's been a struggle for Brian Bass. Let's see if he's back on track with his mechanics where he can throw that sinker and get some ground balls.
Bartlett will be the first batter he faces. Bartlett is 2 for 5 with a home run lifetime off Bass. Runner at first, nobody out, slider away. Bass in 2 previous games against Tampa Bay has pitched 7 1/3 innings, given up 7 runs on 11 hits. His ERA this year against Tampa Bay is 8.59.
I think he got a start early on and gave up like 4 home runs. There's a good sinker.
Strike in. 5-4 ball game. And again, the opponent's hits piling up against the Orioles early. 9 hits for Tampa Bay, and we are only in the 4th inning, and there's still nobody out. Bartlett's got 2 of them. A double, single, 2 runs scored. He is the DH. Runner goes, throw by Wieters, and off the mark on the shortstop side of the bag, and it'll be a stolen base for Brignac.
Yeah, that erases any opportunity to throw him off. Gets a pretty good jump, but a good throw probably would have had him. Not a huge lead. 15 stolen bases, but again, as you mentioned, it's just cuts it off a little bit, so the ball sails.
No, Brignac's got everything going tonight. A homer, 2 RBIs, a single, a stolen base. 1 ball, 2 strike count on Jason Bartlett.
They only came in hitting .394 with runners in scoring position to lead the American League.
The bullpens for these 2 teams substantially different. ERA right now 4th to 13th. Innings fewest and most. Home runs allowed. That's where the Rays have gotten in trouble. Hits per 9 innings, 4th and last. 1-2 delivery, and that will catch the inside corner. Bartlett is retired. Strikeout for Bass. First out of the inning.
Well, terrific pitch right here. So let's take a look how he gets to that count. Now remember, hitting almost 400. Breaking ball, ball 1. Sinker down and in for a strike. Big curveball. They steal right there. Again, 1 and 2. And then the sinker inside corner gets the call. Dale Scott rings up Jason Bartlett.
First out of the inning. Brignac off second base. And Carl Crawford will take the pitch for a strike. Crawford a single, a double, an RBI, and a stolen base so far in the ball game. Going to be a pretty good race for that stolen base title this season, with Crawford running as well as he is right now, and with the Red Sox playing it a little tighter to the vest, wanting to make sure they get that postseason wild card. Ellsbury with 61, Crawford with 57. Carl's career high 59.
And what they have in common is anytime they get on, they can steal pretty much when they want to. They're that good of base runners.
0-2 delivery to him. Crawford will take the breaking ball down low. There's Brignac. Runner at second, and a ball, 2 strike count from Bass. Bass has been a workhorse this season for the Orioles.
And it seemed to have taken its toll.
Yep. Misses down low with it, 2-2.
And I would imagine that's the quandary for Andy MacPhail, again, the president of baseball operations. When you look at him, okay, you have the least amount of innings from your starters. But is it the fact that this has caused it, or is the league adjusting to your relievers? And that's a tough question to answer unless they start pitching better.
2-2 delivery is swung on and missed. Kept that one down. 2 strikeouts.
So when you see Brian Bass on his good days, you say this guy's got starter stuff, because he's got this pitch right here. Starts it on the corner and it ends there, and he causes. I mean, you got to understand how good a hitter Crawford is. I mean, .293 lifetime hitter, been struggling lately, but 300 hitter on the year. He forced him to swing the bat there because the pitch was that good.
Now Evan Longoria will get the RBI opportunity with 2 down and a runner at second base. Longoria takes the fastball. That's going to be inside. 30th home run that he picked up Tuesday in New York. The 9th player in Major League history with 40 doubles, 30 homers, 100 RBIs before the age of 24. 1-0 delivery on the way, and that ball hitting the air to center field. Fiorentino is back, and he's got it. Good job by Bass. A run in and the homer by Upton, and Tampa Bay is on top by 1.
Players and coaches appear in the Masson booth on Utah Street near Gate A. Tonight's Orioles alumni were Joe Ursulak, Ken Dixon, and Chris Hoyles. This Thursday is the final Orioles alumni autograph session of the season, so don't miss out. For more details, call the Orioles at 888-848-BIRD. Gary?
All right, Everett. And the final one for that, and the Orioles here in a homestand with 4 against Tampa Bay, the weekend series against Boston on Friday and Saturday nights and Sunday afternoon. Then the O's go on a long road trip for the end of the year. 3 in Toronto, 4 in Cleveland, 3 in Cleveland, 4 in Tampa Bay, and then they come back home, and the Orioles will finish up October 2, 3, and 4 with games against Toronto here at Camden Yards. Luke Scott. The Orioles trying to avoid a 100-loss season. There are 20 games left, including this one. The Orioles have lost 84. 1 ball, 1 strike count. Scott singled. First time up, got an RBI. The 1-1 delivery is taken away, and a 2 ball, 1 strike count.
Yeah, Luke with a nice approach the first time. Hit a hard ground ball that Longoria caught, knocked down. Tried to throw him out at first. Ball bounced. Chris Richard couldn't come up with it.
Right down the middle is Price, and a 2-2 count.
Well, the Price has been right after the first inning. He has settled down.
2 pitchers who started this game, Price and Hernandez, who had among the lowest run support in the American League. Both of them out here tonight so far for Price. Scott goes down as he foul tipped that one into the mitt. And the strikeout will be the second for Price.
There you go. Matt Garza, he was saying today, all I can do. He had 1 in 9 starts. And Greinke, of course, he never gets any runs. Burley, after the perfect game, has not pitched well or gotten any runs. David Price and then David Hernandez.
Tonight, however, it's a 5-4 ball game in the 4th inning with Tampa Bay leading. Ty Wigginton flying to center his first time up. Wigginton has a 4-game hit streak coming in, making his 35th start at first base in this game. Final line on David Hernandez, the 5 runs, 9 hits, 3+ innings. Down to third base, Longoria. Wigginton retired, 2 away here in the 4th inning. Here's David Hernandez watching. See how this one wraps up, hoping the Oriole bats can come back. I can't believe the final score of this game is going to be 5-4.
No, their bullpens really struggled, at least especially over this last 11 games. A lot of close games. That's what Joe Madden told us. And he said when you're not scoring and you're not pitching well and you have a lot of close games, you don't win a lot of games. Haven't won any.
They are Tampa Bay 17-23 in one-run ball games this year. The Orioles 15-19. Very similar records.
You know, I looked at last year on their way from 61 to 97. They were lights out in one-run games, 29-18. And you know you can't do that again because things have to break your way.
And they haven't.
No.
They have not broken their way. 2-0 count. And Price is going to get the call. That low strike is on tonight. Consistent with it, Dale Scott. Fiorentino grounded out his first time up. Jeff getting the start, his third in center field. 2-1 delivery. Fouled that one away. And the count will go to 2 balls and 2 strikes.
And when you have a guy like David Price with this kind of stuff, you take that 2-0 pitch because you think it's going to be a ball. It's not that it changes the bat that much, but the difference between 2-0 and 3-0, because you don't want to swing at a pitcher's pitch, is huge. And then he makes a good pitch, 2-1. Now you're even. And then he goes to 100.
Full.
Throws it. Oh no, it looked like it was 100, but it was only 91.
3 balls, 2 strike count. Fiorentino hit .312 with the Tides at AAA. 12 homers and 67 RBIs coming up on 1st of September. Tide, the organization, likes his bat. Fouled away. He's trying to punch one through right now. Count will stay at 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Have you ever been at that ballpark?
Oh yeah.
Okay, well you know it's not a hitter's park.
No.
Big dimensions. Wind blows in. High grass. So again, 12 home runs may not be totally indicative of his potential power numbers, but he is a line drive hitter.
3-2 delivery down to third base. Longoria gobbles that one up and gets the out. Well, that's going to be 8 in a row retired by Price as he protects the 1-run lead, 5-4. RBI shot that came in the second inning, and Upton, who got one out just enough in left. AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered. Zobrist, an RBI and a sac fly, and he has struck out. And Zobrist will take that one for a strike.
Another real good fastball hitter. Kind of came out of nowhere last year with a home run every 16 times at bat.
23 home runs this season for him. Zobrist fights it off.
And good sinker right there at 93, running away.
Zobrist did not have good numbers against the Orioles Last season he hit only 200, 10 for 50. But this year that's all changed. Over 390 with a 857 slugging percentage against the O's. And he will foul that one off. Zobrist coming in, hitting 393 with 3 home runs against Oriole pitchers. And a 1-ball 2-strike count from Bass, who's come on and got 3 big outs, including 2 strikeouts out of the bullpen.
Well, he got Bartlett out after with a runner at second base, nobody out. Huge out there. See his stuff. When he's on his game, when he can stay north and south and not spin off, he's got as good a stuff as anybody in that bullpen. There's a good breaking ball. Stayed behind it. Your front side is so important. It's your steering wheel. But I think a lot, whether it's Guthrie early on, he's settled down a little bit. But sometimes Brian thinks you got to spin out and you have to put it. They've been trying to get him just to relax it, just feel like it's out there, and it allows you to go towards home plate.
Gets the first out here. Chris Richard has singled 1 for 2. He has also popped out. Richard getting his opportunity to play at first base with Carlos Pena. Well, broken fingers, done for the year.
You brought up a great point. If this was the Yankees, and it's not that Chris Richard has not had a couple of good years down at their AAA affiliate, because he has, but it would be Nick Swisher. And they could have Nick Swisher because they were able to, make a trade for him, pay him whatever he's making, $6-8 million. Tampa Bay can't do that. So when you lose, when you lose Pena, there's nobody really to come up at the level of a Swisher and take his place.
3-0 delivery on the way, and that's outside. 4 in a row. And Bass surrenders the walk, and it comes with 1 down here in the 5th inning. This Thursday is the final kids night of the 09 season here at Camden Yards. All kids 10 and under will receive a free upper reserve seat when accompanied by a paying adult. Up to 2 free kids tickets per adult. So we hope you'll gather up the family. An affordable night out. Oriole Park, Birds Rays, 888-848-BIRD, Orioles.com. That's Thursday for the last kids night. Sounds like a movie. That ball is outside of first base and foul by Zahn. Zahn has gone down the strikeout route a couple of times already in the ball game. Runner on at first base and 1 away. Zahn to be followed by Iwamura. Orioles playing for the double play here. 5-4 ball game. Rays out hitting the Orioles 9-5. And a check swing. Did he go? Yes. Ron Kelpa.
Yeah, you want to know how hard it is to hit. Greg Zahn caught all the pitchers he's facing tonight, and he's kind of struggling. That bat certainly out in front of the plate on that good breaking ball.
Now down on the count again, 0-2. And we'll take that pitch down low. 1-ball 2-strike count on Zahn. Tampa Bay is part of this 11-game losing streak. It is the longest streak in the majors this season. It ties for the longest streak ever by a team that played in a World Series the year before. 1-2 delivery. Breaking ball is going to miss. You have to go back to the Phillies, Cardinals, Royals, and Marlins of '98, the World Series teams that would come back the next year and have 11 or longer game losing streak. 2-ball 2-strike count. Joe Madden wants it ended right here tonight. The Orioles want to continue it to 12. Inside to him, 2-2. By the way, tomorrow Major League Baseball will release the 2010 schedule. So you'll know what the schedule looks like and can start making plans for the next baseball season tomorrow. 3-2. The computers have spit it out. Runner goes. 3-2 ground ball foul.
That's after all, Christmas is right around the corner.
As we mentioned.
Twice in New York.
Gonna be upon you in a hurry, I suggest. To get out there shopping. 3-2, 1 down.
You'll be real busy around Christmas time this year, won't you?
Yes, I will. Real busy right now, actually. Buying. 3-2, runner going again, and that is down low, and he walked him. So after getting ahead 2 strikes, Bass loses him and 2 walks in a row. have put 2 on, 1 down for Iwamura.
And again, he didn't come close to throwing a strike to Chris Richard, but Woods on, he got ahead of him. So a couple of walks different ways, and that gets somebody up in the Oriole bullpen. A lot of candidates with 13 of them out there.
May need a few tonight here since we're only in the top of the 5th inning. Akinura Iwamura has grounded out and flied out. 2 on, 1 down. Iwamura, the slow roller. He decides I better go. It's a foul ball. Bass picking it up, but the home plate umpire Dale Scott signaling foul.
Yeah, he tried to get to it and smother it right on the line. Iwamura, he figures it's foul, and then watch him go. Watch this. Okay, I'm just going to stop. Oh, it's coming fair. Let's. And inch or so foul.
Close. Had a couple of close plays right on the chalk down there.
And the reason you run is because you try to get by the pitcher, and then it's a really difficult angle to make that play.
Iwamura stands back in now with a 1-strike count. And the 0-1 pitch is going to miss inside for a ball. Iwamura with limited at bats against the Orioles this season. Limited at bats against just about everybody, in fact, since he was out for so long with that injury.
Yeah, hurt that knee against the Marlins back on May 24th, and then had to have an operation. Came back a lot quicker, I think, than they anticipated.
1-1 delivery. That's going to be lashed into left field. Reimold. Richard makes the turn. He's coming home. Throw will be to the cutoff man. And not in time, and it hits the runner. That's going to allow a runner at third. Throw it into the outfield. That's going to allow Zahn to score. And a little League ball takes place, and I don't mean that negatively towards Little Leaguers.
Nope.
7-4.
That's just a horrible play by Brian Bass. I mean, Dave Tremblay can't believe it. Obviously frustrated, couple of walks. Iwamura, Reimold, throw's going to tail a little bit. He's back there. But the ball hits the runner and then it goes, but you just don't throw it. There's no chance. Not from this angle. Watch this toss. When have you ever made that play except in Little League? And you probably didn't make it then either.
The manager was mad then.
Yeah.
They're going to call 2 errors on this. One on the throw by Reimold to the plate, E7, and then that throw by Bass, E2. There is an RBI, or E1, sorry. And Dave Tremblay not going to go any further with that. So Bass will come out of the game. And the Orioles some really sloppy baseball here in the 5th inning. And it is now a 7-4 lead for Tampa Bay. And Matt Albers will come out of the bullpen to pitch for the O's. down.
Yeah, he's been up and down with his performance too. When the ball sinks, again a little bit like Brian Bass in a sense. Maybe throws a couple of miles per hour harder. Came in on Friday night and did get Derek Jeter to bounce into a double play. So the Orioles would go on to win that game 10-4. Once again, when he commands his stuff, he's going to get hitters out. Not everyone, but he's going to be a very competitive pitcher when he's mechanics are bad, balls all over the place, into hitters counts, and then he struggles.
For Tampa Bay, this is any volcanic eruption of offense. Having averaged 1.1 run in the last 11 that they've lost, they've got 7 runs on 10 hits in this game halfway through it. Upton's got a homer and a single, 2 runs scored. He goes after the first pitch to short as Torres will hold the runner and get the out. Upton retired, 2 down in the 5th inning.
Well, it's good to see that BJ's not going to run the balls out. Maybe it's his ankle. Got jammed on a backup slider. That makes that play pretty easy. Ball in the hole, even though he's playing on the pull. But it does look like he's limping, so maybe that's.
Give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, well, we will.
All right. Here's Reed Brignac. Brignac, a home run, a single, first major league home run, 2 RBI shot, 2nd inning. Albers will miss outside with that. The Orioles bullpen, ERA 9.4 over the last 5 games, 8.2 over the last 15.
Yeah, anytime you give up 44 runs in 47 innings, you're not pitching the way you want to. I mean, reality is, Gary, numbers don't lie. Rod sends it every morning on my computer. They got the worst starters and the 2nd worst bullpen. And the bullpen, you could arguably say, well, maybe it's because they don't get the innings that they need out of their starters, and they're young. 4 out of your 5 starters were, for most of the year, rookies. Or is the fact that they just don't make good enough pitches? Could be a combination of both. And it's a tough question to answer as you go into the offseason trying to get better for next year.
That's why this final 3-week period, this final month, has meaning for a lot of players for the Orioles who are fighting for positions for next year, especially pitchers.
And another thing it does, it allows you, even if you end up not being on the 40-man roster because they're going to have to bring some of the other guys that are in the minor leagues onto that roster, you got a chance to go somewhere else and get a job, maybe a big league job. And you're always talking about the fact that if you develop pitching, Andy McPhail talks about this all the time, you can trade those pitchers for bats, which the Orioles are certainly going to need. So it would behoove these guys to increase their value by pitching well over the last 3 weeks.
And I don't think there's any question Andy McPhail really is hoping that he will have 2 or 3 or more names of players other teams will want. Down to first, a foul ball. Because if you can't afford to match dollar for dollar, and you can't with the Red Sox and the Yankees in this division, then you've got to try and stockpile some players that other teams will have an interest in, that will allow you to trade up, if you will, in the sense of getting what you want and need by trading away some numbers from your side for some quality on the other side. It's tough to get there, to build that stockpile.
Well, they're on their way. I mean, everybody I talk to says that.
That one hit hard to right field. Nick Markakis going back, and that's going to hit off the top of the wall. A run will score. Throw into second base. Not in time. What a night Reed Brignac is having. That's a double and another RBI. 3 hits, 3 runs batted in.
Yeah. U.S. Open sinking line drive, topspined it over the head of Markakis. Watch this arm. Makes it close. And there comes Iwamura to make it 8-4. Well, they tried to get him out with a breaking ball, but it just stayed up enough. Nice approach.
3 runs will be charged to Bass. He gives up 3 runs, 1 hit in an inning and a third with 2 walks and 3 strikeouts. Melvin Mora holds the runner, makes the play, and gets the final out anyway. So Bartlett retired, 3 more runs in, and the lead now 8-4 for the Rays.
You mentioned not too many, 6 series where somebody's gone in and beaten the Yankees at New Yankee Stadium. So they got the big hit, so they certainly have that opportunity. But 1 run, and it would turn out to be 3 runs on Saturday when Mattis pitched very well. Jim Johnson gave up a couple of runs in the 9th inning, and then the other night they scored 10, only gave up 4. So that's the magic formula. I mean, it works for everybody. If you're not going to pitch well, you better score a bunch of runs. Tonight it's going to have to be 10, 11, or 12. Maybe that'll happen, but at the end of the day, over the next 3 weeks, good pitching is going to allow them to win some ball games.
David Price started out a little rocky. He has settled it down, however, and went through a couple of innings where he retired 8 in a row. Orioles have got to try and get to him. In fact, get him out of there and get to a bullpen that has also struggled on the other side.
Yeah, what you'd like to have him do, and he's got outstanding stuff. Jim Hickey, his pitching coach, said maybe the slider's struggling a little bit, but tonight, veteran catcher Greg Zahn, we had him. He's over there now calling a good game. He's established his fastball anywhere from 93 to 96, and there's a changeup to start the 5th inning.
So an 8-4 ball game now, the biggest lead that the Tampa Bay has had. And Brian Roberts leading it off, and will take the pitch inside for a ball. Brian has had a single, 1 for 2 in the ball game. The Orioles got 4 runs on 4 hits in the 1st inning. RBIs going to Mora, Wieters, and Scott. That one played on the run. Brignac at short, and Roberts is retired, 1 away in the bottom half of the 5th inning.
We talked about earlier about your slugging percentage going down. Brian has had a terrific year. The next RBI is going to be his career high with 73 RBIs. But again, you turn him around, he goes with his home runs, only 1 hitting right-handed. Doesn't mean his average is not good, because it certainly is. But once again, the slugging numbers go down when you throw a left-hander against the Orioles.
Is Torres up and will take the pitch. Is Torres hit a hard shot in the 1st inning that caught Price on the foot, rebounded over to 3rd, and Longoria made an outstanding play on it to get the out. 0 for 2 tonight. That pitch is taken for a strike, 1-1. Is Torres, 8 hits, 32 at bats against the Rays. A couple of RBIs this season. And that's a strike on the outside corner. These teams are playing their 196th game against one another, virtually dead even. The Orioles overall 101 wins, 95 losses. So they're going to hit the 200 mark here in going up against one another. 1-2 delivery. Is Torres upstairs on it. It'll stay at a ball and 2 strikes.
Yeah, it's good news you're ahead of them. It's bad news that perennially, until last year, they were always the last place team. Never won over 70 games. It's kind of a team that you'd like to really trounce. At least, came into being back in 1998 as an expansion team.
The delivery is in the air to center field. Upton. He's got that one easily, and there are a couple of quick outs here in the 5th inning. Join Orioles Reach and the Oriole Advocates, the cardboard to leather collection, Saturday before the Red Sox game. Volunteers will be at every entrance to accept donations. New, gently used baseball and softball equipment, gloves, bats, balls, uniforms. Cash donations also will be accepted, and there will be a silent auction inside Gate D. All fans who do donate will receive a Melvin Mora autographed player card. You can go to OriolesReach.com for details. That's this Saturday. 2 down, Nick Markakis. Nick will take it for a strike. Markakis drew a walk and scored in the 1st inning. Also called out on strikes. Tampa Bay, Crawford's got an RBI. Zobrist an RBI. Iwamura has added them. Upton a home run. Brignac a 2 RBI homer and an RBI double, and 2 runs have come in on errors. So big night, none bigger than Brignac's, hitting in the number 9 spot. He's got a chance at the cycle his next time up. Markakis tops it off the end of the bat, 2 strikes.
I told you David Price out of Vanderbilt. I think he senses right now, just, hey, get the Orioles out. They're going to get me more runs. Get back in the dugout, sit down for 15 or 20 minutes, and let them come up and hit.
Sure helps to have the 4-run lead where he can concentrate mostly on just throwing strikes.
Well, he did not get hit hard in the 1st inning, but the Orioles did get the 4 runs. They situated it, all singles.
Nick Markakis in the air, shallow left center. Left fielder Crawford. He's got it, and the Orioles are retired 1-2-3 for the 3rd consecutive inning. That's 14 in a row. Price is retired.
Gave up a couple of walks. Iwamura, base hit to left. And Comedy right there.
The shot. First base off Wigginton. Ty Wigginton getting up. It is a single. You better believe it. Carl Crawford. That's about as hard as you can hit a ball.
Well, you got to play in because of his ability to bunt. And just a rocket right there, and maybe in a step or two, and ball maybe stayed down. I think he thought it was going to come up. So now the track meet starts again, already with a stolen base.
That's 3 hits and 4 at bats for Carl Crawford. 11 hits in the ball game for Tampa Bay. Here's Longoria against Matt Albers, and Crawford diving back in. So Tampa Bay, you know they're not going to let up after all they've been through in the 11-game losing streak, scoring nothing. It's going to be all out for 9. A delivery on the way outside. Evan Longoria hitting at 276. Wigginton holding back easily this time. Longoria checks down at third, and of course on a night where they have the big comeback offensively and have 8 runs on 12 hits, Longoria is 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. Here's the 1-0 delivery to him. He's hit .326 against the Orioles this season, coming into this ball game anyway.
Well, he gets his hits, and as we mentioned the first time up, he sprays the ball all over and does it with power. But every time I think you can sneak a fastball by him up and in, he gets it very, very quick.
Longoria will foul that one off down the line, maybe fair. Sorry, Wigginton, tough play, and it is a fair ball. So Ty Wigginton, they get Longoria out of there and is back completely to home plate.
Yeah, he said, I like this a lot better than those rockets at my feet. And a little snow cone, and yes, deftly handled. Boy, it is a tough angle. It would have been maybe a single because Crawford wasn't going anywhere. We saw Longoria do that against Koji Uehara, who pitched a great game down in Tampa Bay, dumped a double down the line. Nobody could get there.
And if Crawford's going to go, probably here, and the Orioles thought so with the pitch out. Zobrist has a sac fly, and he has struck out twice in the ball game. Ben Zobrist. Double trouble. Albers trying to keep an eye on Crawford over there. Matt Albers on in the last inning. Gave up a double, but the 3 runs in the inning were charged to Bass. Here's the 1-0 delivery, and Albers misses outside. A 2-0 count on Zobrist.
Yeah, most home runs he had ever hit in a season in 222 bats. AAA 2007-7. So he hits 12 last year. Steve Henderson said, I just had to convince him, you got to stop taking pitches. You can hit the fastball, swing at it, drive it. And he has. Yes, he did.
And
he's a switch hitter. Yeah, that certainly doesn't hurt. I asked him, when did you start switch hitting? He said, senior year in high school. And he said they didn't want me to do it in college, but I had to talk him into it.
He's hitting .312 right, .263 left. 16 of his homers hit from this side of the plate, left-handed. 2-1 delivery on the way to Zobrist, fouls that one back. And a 2-ball, 2-strike count. Big games in baseball tonight as far as the races are concerned will be on the West Coast. San Francisco and Colorado open up a vital series if the Giants are going to keep their hopes alive in the wild card race. And Tim Lincecum, who missed his last start, will be back, or at least is scheduled to start the game tonight for the Giants. 2-2 delivery to the hole as Torres off his glove. Reimold will track it down. Crawford's heading to third. Here's the throw to Mora, not in time. It'll be a single for Zobrist, and Crawford using that speed to go from first to third.
Well, you get a great feel if you're a great base runner and the play is in front of you, and that's what's going to happen right here. Great approach, fastball again. Ball goes up over the glove. Cesar Torres into left field, and then as Crawford comes around, Reimold's going to make a very good throw. And Melvin with a swipe tag.
threatening to add more. 13 hits. Chris Richard, a single and a walk, and he is popped out. First and third and one down. Runner goes at first. Throw through by Wieters, and got him. He's out of there. Wieters got it on that second base side, allowing his Turris to just catch it and kept the glove going backwards. And Zobrist is out for the second out of the inning.
Well, good pitch to throw on. Great quick release, and this time the throw on the right side of the bag. Watch that right there, right into the runner. And Turris, of course, with Crawford's speed. I mean, terrific exchange. Had him by 2 feet.
Only the 5th time Zobrist has been caught. Here's the 0-1 inside. Chris Richard now with a runner at third base, but there are 2 down. Not a lot of at-bats for Richard after taking over for the leading home run RBI man, Carlos Pena, for Tampa Bay. Here's the 1-1 delivery on the way. With Pena gone, a couple of marks are going to be broken. Pena will move into first place for the fewest hits in a 100 RBI season ever. Took him 107 hits to get 100 RBIs. Phil Plantier of the Padres in '93 had held the record with 111. The other one's going to be the fewest singles in a 100 RBI season. Pena had only 41 singles in gathering the 100 RBIs. The other one to do that, the record had been held by Barry Bonds, who back in 2001, Barry Bonds had a 100 RBI season in which he had 49 singles. And all of those are final numbers, of course, for Pena, who's not going to play again this year. 3-1 delivery on the way, and that's going to be outside. Richard is on with the second walk he's drawn consecutively in plate appearances. 2 down, runners at first and third.
Yeah, it's not a good thing when they're coming up for the 4th time and you got 2 outs going in the bottom of the 6th inning. Too many hitters.
Big outbreak offensively, Tampa Bay tonight.
Well, they were 3-14. They had lost 11 in a row, but it was against the Tigers and against the Yankees and the Red Sox. Tigers' 3rd best pitching team. Red Sox about 5th, and the Yankees about 7th.
Yankees beating the Angels 3-2 in their ball game tonight. Both teams, of course, are division leaders. Right now, if the playoffs started, the Red Sox would play the Angels. Yankees would get the Tigers. 0-1 delivery. Greg Zahn will take that for a strike. Zahn has struck out twice and walked. He's loved the calls by Dale Scott when he's had the gear on, but when he's handling the bat, it's been a little different. 0-2, Wieters with the signs.
Yeah, I think he's trying to figure out his strategy now. It seems like he's hit. I think he has. He's been 0-2 and now the 4th straight at bat. End up walking last time though.
0-2 delivery to him. That'll just miss outside. 1 ball, 2 strike count. Dennis Sarfate in the bullpen. Third base, Kyle Crawford. First base, Chris Richard. 1-2 delivery by Albers. Zahn will take that away, and it goes to 2 balls and 2 strikes. The walks have always hurt in this ball game. Chris Richard drew a walk, Zahn a walk in the 5th. They both would end up scoring. Here's the 2-2 delivery to Zahn, and again the count goes 3-2. So for the 2nd consecutive at bat, he goes from 0-2 to 3-2.
Yeah, and there's his command issues, because if you look at coming in 59 innings, 29 walks. It's just too many, along with 68 hits. So you're going to give up hits. Only 2 home runs. They don't take them deep. But command, can you throw the ball in the corner?
3-2, runner at first going. Zahn will take it, and he's done it again. 2 consecutive at bats where he was down 2 strikes and got a walk both times.
When we used to do our sides, George Bamberger, Ray Miller, the pitching coach. Speaking about pitching coach, Rick Skranitz is going to come out. We'd finish it up. We'd say, can we throw 7 out of 10 fastballs low and away? Mike Flanagan, when he was pitching coach here, 95, 96, he said, you can tell by a guy's windup and his command. Well, that's what you want to do. If you can't do that, you can't control the ball. What do you throw? The ball. So it's just very difficult to be successful.
Albers the talk to by Kranitz. The bases are now loaded, and you got Akinori Iwamura coming up. He had an RBI single his last time up. Now has a 5-game hit streak going. And Iwamura gets a chance here with Crawford. He had a single at third. Chris Richard a walk. Zahn a walk at second and first, respectively. 2 down. 8-4 lead, Tampa Bay. And the first pitch is taken down low by Iwamura. Ball 1. Well, Albers in a jam right here. Iwamura, always been a good RBI guy. This season with limited at bats, he struggled, just .214 with runners in scoring position. 2 for 8 with the bases loaded. Swung out and miss. Leaning away from that one. 1-1.
You need an extra 5 inches on the back to hit that pitch. I mean, if you said to Matt Albers, you think you're going to hit the ball very hard when you throw it out of the middle of the plate like you just did? And they keep going, of course not. Well, just do it more often. You'll have more success.
1-1 delivery on the way.
And then the next one's right down the middle. You can turn it around. Texas did it. Season's not over, but they were the worst pitching team. Nolan Ryan said, I'm sick and tired of guys not being in shape, not being able to run. They went on a throwing program. You know, they ended up getting Mike Maddox out of Milwaukee, the brother of Greg Maddox, who he knew from Round Rock, and all of a sudden you have a much more positive thing. There is something to be said for being in shape when you pitch.
No kidding. No kidding. Now there's the surprise. Since you're throwing out there violently, using your body at angles that it's not used to, you probably would like to be in shape.
Yeah, you would.
Yeah. 3 ball, 1 strikeout. Bases loaded. Iwamura will make it 3-2. He's looking today. Texas is now 4th in ERA, moving up from close to the bottom last year.
No, they were last.
They were last.
Way last. The
and
only
their
reason the Orioles
starters are 7th in innings pitched. So they've.
Well, what they tried to do, Gary, as you know, is dispel the fact that you cannot play a whole season in a hitter's ballpark in Texas and pitch well. They've disproved it.
3-2 delivery. Runners go. Ground ball to third. Mora with a runner crossing in front. And Albers gets the out. Couple of hits. Bases are left loaded. A big out in the inning. Wieters as he threw out Zobrist before they loaded him up. He remains.
Becomes the first player in Major League history to have 9 straight 200-hit seasons. And Daisuke Matsuzaka, after all that finger pointing, returns from the disabled list tomorrow to make a start for the Red Sox against the Angels. Gary?
Very interesting. The Red Sox, of course, going to the wild card. John Lester right now is the ace of their staff, and they're still trying to figure out if they make it, who would be in the rotation.
Yeah, well, you know it's going to be Lester and Beckett, and then right the guy right behind him is Clay Buchholz. He pitched another great game against Tampa Bay. Didn't get the win, but Okajima did in yesterday's game. And then they'll just figure out, depending on what kind of schedule they get in the first round, whether they'll need 3 or 4 starters.
To be decided. The Orioles need some base runners and some runs as we go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Reimold has singled against Price and grounded out. Orioles have not had a base runner since the 2nd inning on a single by Roberts.
11 in a row. Match their losing streak.
He's retired the side in order the last 3 innings. David Price has. Amber was talking about Ichiro. Ichiro, despite the great years, not leading the league in average. Joe Mauer at 366 ahead of Ichiro, who is at 353. They're the two that are going to battle. Towering pop up to center. Brignac pointing up in the air for Upton just in case he didn't see it. Reimold is retired, one away.
Well, 2007, the #1 player picked was the guy that's pitching against the Orioles tonight. And I think good fastball hitter, Nolan Reimold. He just threw him a 2-0 fastball. He's looking for it and couldn't quite get to it. I mean, that's what you want with a fastball pitcher. Doesn't mean that Price can't throw his other pitches over, because he's pitched pretty well with the other two. But when you can throw a fastball in a fastball count and still get a good fastball hitter out, tells you something.
1 down. Melvin Mora will foul it away. Mora single RBI in the 1st inning, and he has popped out.
And the scoreboard, the 4 runs, not a lot of balls hit hard against David Price. The Orioles really found some holes and took advantage of it. That and an error.
Orioles did not have an extra base hit in the ballgame. Mora towards 3rd, now short. Brignac the throw. Oh my! Tip of the cap on that, because that was a long throw and he was running towards the left field line.
So he can hit and field. Longoria can't get to it. Seems like he's gotten everything else. And watch this play.
That's a lot of
not
arm.
Even close.
Well, that's a really tough throw.
Well, that's Jeter's play with more on it.
Yeah, Jeter would usually skip it.
Yeah.
Brignac kept it in the air. Fine defensive play. Mora retired. There are 2 down. 2 away bases are empty. Wieters a single. 1 for 2 in the ball game.
Well, David Price and Matt Wieters on the cover of Baseball America, the top 2 prospects coming into this season. Even though Price did play in the postseason last year. 14-1 last year. Total numbers. Minor leagues and in the big leagues. Pretty impressive for your #1 guy. Matt Wieters probably could have played in the big leagues last year, but a little different timetable.
An amazing ascension by Price, whose minor league record is 13-5 complete. 27 games he started at the minor league level before coming and joining a ball club that was having a miracle year and got to be a part of it in the postseason. Taken outside. He interestingly throws more pitches than about anybody else in the league. He averages over 18 pitches an inning. That's the highest in the American League. If he qualified, he doesn't have the innings pitched to qualify for those numbers yet. He will surrender the walk. Just the second he has given up, the other one to Markakis in the 1st inning. This copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the Orioles may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Orioles. 2 down here in the 6th inning with a runner on base for Luke Scott. Luke an RBI single and a strikeout victim. So 13 in a row retired by Price prior to the walk by Wieters. Ground ball to second base, Iwamura. And that will do it in the inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, and a base runner left on. 6 complete here at Camden Yards. 8-4 Rays.
There they are, Jeff Demon, who with 14 wins and a new split-fingered fastball, which gives him an extra pitch. And Birkin, who's pitched very well as of late. You look at the 11 losses, but at one point it was 1-9, 1-10. But he's turned it around. So we'll see how he does against the Rays, who Dennis Arfate last pitched up in Boston had struggled early on. Had a circulatory problems in his hand after last year having that stress fracture in his right shoulder. But threw the ball very well. Great curveball up in Boston. Couple of strikeouts in an inning. And that was last Tuesday night.
Sarfarte will go to work here against B.J. Upton. Upton has a single, a home run, and he is grounded out. 2 runs scored and an RBI. He's a .289 career hitter at Camden Yards and delivered his 4th home run lifetime in this ballpark. That ball in the air to right center field. Markakis ambles over. Upton is retired. Albers an inning and 2/3, 3 hits, couple of walks. Bass gave up 3 runs on a hit, an inning and a third. David Hernandez 5 runs, 9 hits over 3+ innings for the Orioles starter. David Price has been on for all of it for Tampa Bay.
Yeah, cruising along.
Here's Brignac, speaking of cruising. Brignac, 2 RBI homer, double, single, 3 RBIs in the game, and a chance right here at hitting for the cycle if he can find a triple.
Well, he looks very much like Clay Buchholz, and you can see right there nobody. And again, the Rays came into being back in 1998 as ever hit for the cycle.
1-0 delivery to him. Brignac takes it up high.
Yeah, very thin. I saw him down the batting cage, but obviously very powerful.
He is out of St. Amand, Louisiana. 23 years old. A minor league experience. This season was his 5th professional year. He got his first games in at the major league level last year when he played in 4 ball games. 2-0 delivery on the way, and he will hold up on that. He did not go around. .30 delivery and a strike taken. He comes out of a little league program that also developed Eric Young and Will Clark in the Cypress Mounds Little League in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Here's the 3-1 delivery, and that one is down the line. That is a fair ball. It's Markakis, though, and you're not going to get a triple, Reed. He'll go into second base with another double. A 4-for-4 ball game for Reed Brignac.
Well, you changed the lineup a little bit. Doubleheader yesterday, so he ended up playing. But right here, another good pitch to hit. And he can hit the fastball, and one of those hits on a hanging curveball. So again, he's thinking 3 if Markakis doesn't come up with it, but he does.
He's got a very controlled swing, it looks like.
Well, he reminds me of Zobrist from the left side. I mean, they're similar size. And both are in the 6'3" range. Having a great night tonight. I mean, how about that defensive play, though?
Yeah,
that was unbelievable.
As good as any of the hits.
And then you give Jason a chance to just do what he does well, which is also play shortstop, but give him a night just to hit.
Bartlett's already had a double and a single. He is 2 for 4, increasing his .421 season average against the Orioles. Delivery to him is going to be taken inside for a ball. And Sarfate trying to hold a runner at second base here and keep the score where it is at 8-4. 1 down. Bartlett moving into the leadoff spot, trying to get Brignac home. 1-1 delivery by Sarfate, and that's going to be on the inside corner. Strike call.
Trying to look at it yesterday, the Orioles gave up 10 or more runs for the 16th times, and 11 of them have been against the American League East.
The beast.
Yep.
That is the East.
Well, Tampa Bay 4th in runs scored.
1-2 delivery on the way.
I mean, the 3 of the 4 top offensive teams are in the American League East. Yankees 1, Boston 3, the Angels are number 2, and then right here Tampa Bay. Now they told us, well, haven't been really consistent, and they certainly haven't been consistent because they had scored 8 runs in their last 7 games. But that's against some pretty good pitching. But they can hit, especially if you throw Pena in that lineup.
1-2 delivery, and Sarfati went upstairs to get the swinging strikeout.
Well, Dennis Sarfati can bring it. And he got the big overhand curveball, and when he came off the disabled list, the velocity wasn't there. Maybe 89, 88. But he's got some giddy up on this fastball. And Bartlett, a good high ball hitter.
Two down, runner still on at second base, and here's Carl Crawford. He too is looking for a 4-hit ball game. He's had a double, 2 singles, and an RBI. He's hitting 300 now overall, and 300 against the Orioles this season. Brignac will go back towards second base. Tampa Bay team, they are 9th in average, 4th in runs. Home run wise, they are also ranked 4th in the league, 5th in both slugging and on base percentage. Pitch will be taken down low. And it's not that their pitching has been dramatically bad. They've got the 7th best ERA in the league. It just hasn't gotten it done when they've needed it.
Well, you talked about that 12 and 22 run. Well, they've had 11 out of 13 blown saves. They just, guys that were pitching well just stopped pitching well. You know, is there luck involved? Probably. They never have. I mean, it's an interesting thing when you think of trying to compete in the American League East against the Red Sox and the Yankees, when the Yankees have Rivera and the Red Sox have Papelbon. It's nice to know that at the end of the game you win the games you're supposed to win. Lou Piniella used to always say that when he's up in Seattle.
2-1 delivery to the gap in left center field. Reimold going back, reaching, and he's got it. Nolan Reimold, as that ball carried. Brignac is held on base. 7th inning stretch time brought to you by Jack Daniel's Tennessee Whiskey. Play straight responsibly. Refreshing beer.
Yeah, going to be another run for the Rays unless he catches it. And there he snares it. A couple of steps into the wall. Doesn't know where the wall is until right about now. And braces himself.
Ball was carrying. It was hit hard, and it kept on going. Fine play by Nolan Reimold to end the inning, leaving a runner in scoring position. Now the Orioles offense, let's see if they get picked up by the defensive play. The O's down, going to the bottom half of the 7th, 8-4. They have not scored since they got the 4 runs on 4 hits in the first inning. Still looking for the first extra base hit off David Price, who has walked 2 and struck out 2.
Yeah, 20th start. Only 4 times has he pitched 7 innings or more. Obviously a lot of, it's not a lot of them, but another 6 of them where he's gotten into the 6th inning.
And the pitch will be taken outside. Ty Wigginton. Wigginton is 0 for 2. Only the 2 walks, so Price hasn't hurt himself in putting Orioles on base, which is what the Orioles obviously need here in the 7th inning.
Yeah, pitch count at 85, so very economical.
This has been kind of a different game for him.
Well, after the first, and even in the first, Gary, as you know, I mean, the Orioles get the 4 hits, but he's throwing strikes. They're just hitting him. Found holes, took advantage of it.
The efficiency we referred to that he hasn't had in other games has been here in the ball game tonight. Wigginton with a 2-0 count. And Ty will take it inside, 3-0, 10,628. The announced attendance for the ball game tonight, 10,628. 3-0 delivery, and it's in there for a strike. Wigginton trying to draw the walk.
Dale Scott's got a big strike zone. I mean, we've seen the low, we saw the high. Chris Ray, he's been struggling. Chance to come in.
Wigginton hard and foul.
And that's what the 8 runs allows you to do, is when you get to a guy that's not in a lot of home runs, but average has been creeping up. And they certainly know him because he played for Tampa Bay. Throw a strike because one pitch isn't going to beat you. Not like it's a 1 or 2 run ball game. And he's getting back into the count.
3-2 to Wigginton. Upton playing very shallow in center. And swung on and missed. The 3rd strikeout of the ball game for Price. 1 down here in the 7th. The 3 prostate cancer screenings originally scheduled for Wednesday at Oriole Park have been postponed. Wanted to let you know that. The screenings canceled for Wednesday. Fiorentino. Jeff Fiorentino's 0 for 2 in the ballgame. Tampa Bay, by the way, is 30-28 against the East on the season. 2 games above 500. Foul back. They have played 500 ball against both Baltimore and Boston. They finished up 9-9 against the Red Sox. 5-10. 5 wins, 10 losses against the Yankees, and 11-4 against Toronto. So Toronto's the only team they have a winning edge on in the East so far. A win tonight and they would have 1 game up on the Orioles. 0-2 count. Fiorentino to be followed by Brian Roberts at the top of the order. Price the 0-2. In the air, shallow center, Bermuda triangle, base hit. Fiorentino a big turn. Evan Longoria, the 3rd baseman, gets over to cover second. Fiorentino's got his first hit.
Yep, and it's a contact hit. You're battling against a 6'6" lefty who's throwing anywhere up to 96 miles per hour. And what do you try to do? Make contact. Maybe you'll get lucky. Right off the end of the bat. Upton can't get there. Iwamura can't get there.
Fiorentino on. Talking to Chris Richard, who he knows, I'm sure, well from the minor leagues where Richard's played. So they chat over there.
No, they've had conversations before.
Yes. 1 down, Brian Roberts. Roberts a single, and he is grounded out. And a strike on the outside corner from David Price. Orioles now 6 hits in the ball game, but all 6 are singles. Price the 0-1 delivery. Roberts will take it. That is going to be a strike at the knees and falls behind 0-2. Price taking the long look in, trying to get his record to 8-7. If he can get a win here. That ball shatters the bat. Shortstop on the fly. Ball is caught. So Roberts is retired for the 2nd out. Brignac picking that one off the blades of grass.
And not an easy play, because if you don't read the ball well, you don't get to it in the air. Well, getting the fast feet, and that ball, good movement. And right off the trademark. So if you take a step back at all, you're not going to catch that ball in the air. You probably still would have gotten the force at second, because down by 4.
And you're watching the barrel of the bat.
Oh yeah, everyth's coming your way.
It wasn't that close, but you don't know that when you're trying to follow the ball and the bat is coming towards you. Ball thrown out. Price made the decision he didn't want that ball back, so rather than throwing it to the catcher and the umpire, he threw it out himself.
Now we went to Vanderbilt. I wonder if he must have graduated, because that's a smart move. I mean, you take out the middleman.
I don't want that ball again, ever.
Well, I mean, if you throw it to the umpire, he's going to throw it out. So he just takes the middleman out.
Sometimes he'll put it back in the bag, though. Dan Wheeler in the bullpen. And the breaking ball is going to hang up high. Is Torres 0 for 3 in the game, 0 for 6 lifetime off Price. 1 ball, 1 strike count, marking his 1,000th game here against Tampa Bay.
Well, both of his home runs from this side of the plate. You'd love to get a little bit closer and get the bullpen involved.
As Torres will fight it off.
Of course, it doesn't have to be a home run. Just the base hit, bring Markakis up. Maybe he hits a double, you get 2. Bullpen, as we mentioned, 9 blown saves out of the last 13 opportunities. You want to force them to have to come in and close the game.
Price is getting him closer and closer to having to get only 6 outs.
Yeah, pitch count now at 101.
1 ball, 2 strike count with 2 down. Fiorentino off first base, and it is taken down low. 2 ball, 2 strike count as Torres trying to work out a walk here. Price seemingly slowing the pace down a little bit. One sign that gas tank may be getting a little closer to the E mark. No. Okay. Wheeler's ready if needed. Here's the 2-2 delivery, and that's in the dirt. And the count goes to 3 balls and 2 strikes. So Price maybe running out of gas here in the 7th inning. Trying to get his second win against the Orioles this year. A couple of runs, 7 hits in 5 innings in the first one. In this one, he's given up 4 runs on 6 hits. 3-2 count, 2 down. Fiorentino will be running at first base. As Torres grounds it that way, and that's going to be a base hit. Fiorentino will head over to third. As Torres has got a single. And the Orioles cover the corners with 2 down here in the 7th. Torres just took that one and found the hole.
Well, great approach. Natural side of the plate. You can see Chris Richard, and he's really going to try to flag this ball down. But he thinks he's probably the only guy that has a chance, and he's right. So Fiorentino, Jeff, with very good speed, easily into third base. And this will probably be Markakis' last, or excuse me, Price's last hit. And Nick comes to the plate.
So the Orioles looking for a big hit now to get them back into the ball game. With 2 down, runners on at first and third, and trailing by 4. Nick Markakis has walked and scored, struck out and flied out. Nick the opportunity for the 2-out RBI. Markakis against Tampa Bay on the season, hitting at .310 coming into this game. He's had a home run and 5 RBIs against the Rays. 1-0 count against Price. 2 hits and 7 at bats. 1-0 delivery that will miss, and Price is not long for the slab out there as he falls behind 2-0. Joe Madden hoping to get him worked through the inning. First baseman Richard hollering at him, telling him that he's not going to hold the bag. You see Richard moves in front of the runner now with the lefty up there. Markakis, dangerous area for a first baseman. 2-0 delivery. Markakis taking it, is in there. 2-1. You want to cut down on the hole between first and second. You don't want to give the runner a free pass to go to second base. So Richard steps in front of him. Markakis hits one hard, though. Richard will have a problem. Swung on and foul back. 2-1. 2-2, sorry.
Well, the youngster right there. Pitch count well over 100. Still able to throw it. And he's done it all night. 93, occasionally up to 95, couple of 96. And he threw it over. But you know, they let him throw more than 108 pitches in college.
He's thrown a lot of games where he's thrown over 100 pitches this season, half of them or more. Here's the 2-2 with a runner going. Here's the throw down by Zahn, not in time.
I think they called it, even though
they called the strike.
And I'll tell you what, Zahn, he stands up in front of the umpire, and they still get the call.
So the strikeout to Price, Markakis didn't think so. 4 strikeouts for Price, and it remains an 8-4 Rays lead. Crawford, he's had a 3-hit ball game with an RBI. Text in your vote A, B, or C to 51862. After the inning was over, Price coming out. You must take lessons from the Williams sisters on how to feel really bad when you're winning. 8-4.
Chris Ray comes on. Yeah, he last pitched up in Boston, and you know, you talked about the last 3 weeks how it's important for pitchers. Not that his job is in jeopardy, but if you're going to stay up here, you better start pitching better. And part of it is getting those kind of pitches over. It just seems to me, Rick Cranett, the pitching coach, says maybe not as much life. Velocity's been pretty decent, but splitter and slider not consistent.
And there's a outside corner strike called. Evan Longoria quickly 0-2 on him. Longoria's not had a hit. 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts in the ball game. And the 0-2 delivery. Right, he's going to get him again.
Well, there we go. 94, 3 pitches. Dale Scott, big outside corner, takes advantage of it to get ahead, and then they tried to slow the windup down, just smooth it out a little bit. So that way you can make a more quality pitches. Doesn't seem like a whole lot bothers Evan Longoria. You know, the ball's off the corner a little bit, so what? You know what? I'll try to hit. If I don't, I'll go get him next time.
And he does.
And he does. Well, you're right. And you know, I saw Jeter the other day. He made the last out of the game on some questionable pitches. Never turned around. Just you know, the Yankees lost. The Orioles won on Saturday. Just walked to the dugout. Didn't turn back to the umpire.
I'll be back.
Yeah, and
Zobrist has a 1 for 3 off Ray, and he has a 1 for 3 in the ball game. He too has struck out twice. RBI and a sac fly for Zobrist. He'll hit that one high in the air. Center fielder Fiorentino. He's got it.
And then when Chris Ray comes in and throws a fastball in the middle of the plate with good life, he gets a good fastball hitter. Another indication that his stuff is good tonight.
Wheeler's long time up, ready to go, and he will be coming on, I'm sure, with Price coming out. Safadi worked an inning and gave up a hit. Out of there for Chris Ray. And that pitch is up high to Chris Richard. Richard 2 walks, a single, 1 for 2 officially. He has scored a run in the ball game. 14 hits on the board for the Rays on a 1-ball 1-strike count on Richard.
And another terrific pitch right there.
That will be taken down low. Two-ball 1-strike count. Richard only 10 at bats. Covering at first base with Payne gone, and a 2-2 count. Richard is a career minor league player who has had his shots at the major league level on and off.
Yeah, he was here for just about 2 years.
Shattered the bat on that one and fouled it.
I think he had something like 12 and 15 home runs, so somewhat productive.
19th round pick with the Cardinals back in '95. And when he came up this season, it was the first time he'd been up to the majors in 6 years. He has played 1,140 minor league baseball games.
Well, he enjoys the game.
Crash Davis.
Yeah.
2-2 delivery on the way to Richard, and he takes the pitch, and it's full. 3-2. 3-2 count, 2 down. Ray trying to retire the side in order. That has not happened in this ball game until now. A 1-2-3 inning. Ray gets a couple of strikeouts. We'll go to the bottom half of the 8th at Camden Yards. 8-4 Rays. Made his major league debut. He became the first player from Nicaragua to appear in the majors. Did it in a relief appearance, and of course would go on to be a great starter for the Orioles. This date, 76. 8-4. Rays have the lead over the Orioles. Price is out. Wheeler is in.
Well, he comes in his last appearance, pinch hit home run, not a pinch hit home run, but a walk-off home run by Swisher in Yankee Stadium. Last year, 13 saves. The one thing about their bullpen, they've lost 11 in a row, but in those 11 games, bullpen 0-6 with an ERA of 8.87. So last year pitched very well. In fact, that was a big turnaround for them. They had the worst bullpen in 50 years 2 years ago at 6.15. Last year they were about third, and Wheeler's a big part of it. He gets in trouble with a long ball. He's thrown 10 of them this year.
The Orioles would like to get a couple of those long balls, hopefully with somebody on against him. Nolan Raimo will lead it off. He has singled 1 for 3. Now has a 5-game hit streak going. Raimo will be followed by Moore and Weeder scheduled up against Wheeler. Raimo 0 for 1 off the Tampa Bay right-hander. 8-4 Rays lead. 14-7. The Rays about hit the O's. First ball hitting. Tower shot to third. Evan Longoria. 1 down.
Dan Wheeler not overpowering. Got a real good slider. 88, 89. One thing he does pitch in a lot of games. He is now 60 or more appearances the last 5 years, and they got him from Houston about middle of the way through 2007, where they started rebuilding the bullpen, because again they were on their to a 6.15 ERA as a team that year.
Melvin Mora will take the pitch for a strike. Mora in the ball game has singled, RBI, scored a run, 1 for 3.
And you would think about maybe dropping a bunt down. Longoria very, very deep, would have liked to have done it early on. So it certainly presented to Melvin.
0-1 delivery, and he'll look at a slider that's going to be outside. Rays pen active. Schaus and Howell. We are in the bottom half of the 8th inning. For Wheeler, this is the 6th game he's appeared in this year against the Orioles. He's given up no runs, 3 hits, and 4 innings worked against the O's. 1-1 delivery on the way. Mora puts that one towards the corner. Crawford over, will not get it. It'll hop up into the stands and be a ground rule double. The Orioles' first extra base hit of the game.
Now, I can't imagine that Joe Madden, even though it's a game of matchups, they're not going to take long. I mean, this is what this bullpen's about. They're just not getting the guys out they need to get out. Right here, Melvin, nice approach. Slider stays in the middle of the plate after a good one low and away. And he gets the bat out. You can see him. What a great angle right there. Shows him a reach for it. And Crawford could run him down. Couldn't get up with it.
So Wheeler will work only a third of an inning, give up a hit. He'll be responsible for the base runner on at second base. Tampa Bay up by 4. Coming on to match up against Matt Wieters.
Yeah, finesse lefty last year with Milwaukee, had a great year. Elbow problems early on. He 40 years old. And they've had a number of guys that have pitched that, but he pitched in 3 of the 4 games in New York. And he was missed about 53 games with the elbow problems, but scoreless in his last 13 of 14 appearances. So Joe Madden going with a hot hand.
Definitely a matchup pitcher, because right-handers hit 389 off him, but the left-handers 246.
Yeah. And Wieters, of course, can turn around, hit from either side of the plate.
They want him here.
Yeah, I just think they want him here because he's pitching well, and they'll ignore the numbers for the moment.
1 down, runner on at second base. Matt Wieters 1 for 2 with a walk and a single. He has also scored a run. RBI in the ball game. Orioles got their runs in the first inning. 4 runs off the starter Price. Price 7 innings, 4 runs, 3 earned, 7 hits. He walked 2 and struck out 4. Looking for the win against the O's, the second of the year for him and his 8th overall. The 0-1 delivery, a floater that's going to miss outside by the left-hander. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Yeah, I would imagine that Joe Madden is saying, well, okay, you hit the righties hit 389, but Matt Wieters, rookie year, doesn't see a lot of guys that floated up there like Schaus. I mean, he can be very effective because he's so deceptive.
1 strike count. Wieters will take the pitch away. 2-1. Moore is on at second base. 1 down. We are in the bottom half of the 8th inning. The O's try and mount a rally here. They had the lead. Tampa Bay got 1 in the first. The Orioles got 4 in the first. Tampa Bay came right back with 3 more in the second. Tied the ball game up, and since then Tampa Bay has not trailed in the ball game. A big 5th inning where they got 3 runs and a couple of hits. The difference right now against Dave Tremblay's Orioles. 2 ball, 2 strike count. Wieters down to third. Longoria knocks it down and gets the out.
Well, everybody said when he came up last year in his first year in the big leagues that he's going to win a Gold Glove.
He may be hurt.
Yeah. But I tell you, watch him stay. I mean, this is Brooks Robinson in the sense that Brooksy would catch every ball because if he couldn't catch it, he'd keep it in front of him. Momentum of trying to keep it in front of you so you're going towards first base, and that's exactly what he does.
Taking some deep breaths over there, and clearly that stung. Zahn's gone out to the mound to give Longoria a little extra time to regroup at third base. That's that left hand.
Oh, it gets him on the wrist, right on that wrist guard. No wonder it hurts. I saw Ron Santo do that to Don Money once on the turf up in Philadelphia. He just couldn't get out of the way. I mean, this was, hey, I'm going to try to catch it. So it turns out it bounces off his wrist till he keeps it in front of him. That'll slow the bat down when you try to hit.
Wow. 2 outs. Runner on at second base. Justin Turner on as the pinch hitter. Turner getting a visit to Yankee Stadium as part of his arrival with the Orioles. First career hit Friday. First career start RBI yesterday. 7th round pick for the Reds from Cal State Fullerton.
First time ever to New York. Family was there. Aunt was there. Grandmother was there. Friends were there. I said, did they follow you to Baltimore? He said, no, last trip of the year, coming back for the Toronto series. Ooh.
That was behind him.
Yeah, well, that happens. We've seen that. That's a couple times this year. You don't know how it happens, but it does.
Turner got his first hit at 1:17 in the morning. It was that rainy night in New York, and the rain delay before, rain delay 7th inning. He came on and at 1:17 picked up the base hit. They did get the baseball, despite how long the night was. 1 ball, 1 strike count. Melvin Moore on at second base. Turner pinch hitting here for Luke Scott, who had a 1 for 3. That one hit off the edge of the plate. Iwamura gets the out. So no runs, 1 hit, no errors, and a base runner left on. We go to the 9th inning with the Rays leading at 8-4. On the score this evening. Ninth inning. Rays have an 8-4 lead. 8-14-1 Rays. 4-8-2 Orioles. Ray worked an inning, got a couple of strikeouts, gave up nothing. Here's Alberto Castillo.
Yeah, 1 run in his 3 2/3 innings. So there's your ERA. And again, the Orioles, as the season ends, looking for somebody who can come in and get lefties and righties out.
The left-handed veteran at 34 years old. Alberto Castillo. We'll get a pinch hitter. Deanna Navarro will come on for Zahn. Catcher for catcher in the top half of the ninth inning. The Rays are trying to win an 11-game losing streak with a victory here in the first of 4 against the Orioles. Navarro, switch hitter. 227 overall. Right-handed 296, left-handed 188. He's got 7 home runs, 30 RBIs. As a pinch hitter, Navarro 0 for 2. 1-0 delivery to him is up high by Castillo. In the ninth here at Camden Yards. After that first inning, David Price just held the Orioles down to nothing, and the Orioles have not scored since they got the 4 runs on 4 hits in that first inning. 2-ball, 1 strike count on Navarro. Hernandez, the pitcher of record for the O's, 5 runs, 9 hits over 3. David Price, 4 runs, 3 earned, 7 hits over 7 for the Rays. 2-1. Navarro bloops that one to first. Wigginton's got it for the out. Castillo gets the first out. Akinori Iwamura. RBI single, 1 for 4. Iwamura now with a 5-game hit streak.
Yeah, nice approach as he would single into left field, and that's what he tried to do. Doesn't overswing. Again, 1 home run and close to 200 times to the plate. And the one thing he doesn't have, you compared him to Ichiro, doesn't have that speed.
He's a .404 hitter right now against lefties. Now remember, he hasn't had a lot of at bats, but he's had 57. He's 23 for 57 against left-handers. Iwamura will take that one for a strike from Castillo.
Well, it always looks like he's backing away from the plate, but Ichiro looks like he bails out, but that front shoulder stays in enough where they're able to maintain coverage of the plate. Well, check there.
No sooner said than done.
Right. Shouldn't have said that. Great slider down and away, but of course he didn't put it in play. Trying to stay in, and then almost does a 180.
Iwamura with a 2-2. The delivery to him is going to be outside and a full count. 3-ball, 2-strike count on Iwamura with 1 down and nobody on here in the ninth inning.
Well, that's why all the good left-handed hitters say you want to hit the breaking ball till 2 strikes at the one at you.
Down to third, and he's got a base hit. Well, he was a .260 hitter last year against lefties with a full season, so that's a solid left-handed batter against left-handed pitchers.
Well, Alberto cannot replicate that good slider down and away, and he ends up throwing him a fastball in the middle of the plate, and he slashes it into left.
B.J. Upton, his homer single, grounded out and flied out, a 2 for 4 for Upton. His 4th career home run here at Camden Yards came in the 4th inning when he was leading it off. David Hernandez gave up 2 home runs in the game. The Orioles starter. Breaking ball on the outside corner for a strike to Upton. 15 hits in the ball game for Tampa Bay.
Yeah, 20 the Yankees got against the Orioles yesterday.
Only 174 off left-handers for Upton. The 0-1 is 0-2.
Well, the home run was actually a 2-strike pitch. It was down and in. They tried to come in, and he just kind of hit a sizzling line drive, golfed it. I know he plays golf, but
not with that stick.
Nope.
0-2, 1 away. Short lead at first base. And Upton will ground it to short as Torres to Roberts. There's one. Relay to first. Double play. No runs, one hit, no errors, nobody left. The Orioles go to the bottom of the ninth inning, needing 4 to keep this ball game going. It's J.P. Howell who's going to come on. He'll be a new battery mate as Navarro came on as the pinch hitter. Will stay in the ball game to do the catching for Zahn.
Hey, you talked about that August 7th date, 12 and 22 cents, and Howell, who was very good, 11 earned runs in his first 52 appearances. Since then, it's been a struggle. 10 runs in his last 10 in the third innings, and again, he's been kind of the closer by committee. At least he was up to that date. So again, we've seen him. Good curveball, real good changeup, not overpowering, but very deceptive. We'll see if it's not a safe situation, but certainly would be I think a confidence booster if he can come in and get the Orioles out here in the ninth.
Well, he was really relegated to the back bench. He hasn't pitched since the 6th of September. Got the loss on the 4th against the Tigers, giving up the 1-3 7.84 ERA in the last 13. So Howell works here as the Orioles will take a look at him, try and make him throw strikes here, and hope he doesn't. Ty Wigginton leading it off, Fiorentino and then Roberts. Wigginton an 0 for 3. Flied out, grounded out, and struck out. Howell from that third base side of the pitching rubber. Outside with it, and a 1-ball, 1-strike count.
Now, he has never been overpowering, and we talk about how Tampa Bay, they found a place for him. In 2007, he started. He was 1-6. They put him in the bullpen. Last year, he was 6-1. Just a good fit out there.
1-1, tried to come back inside with it and missed, and a 2-ball, 1-strike count.
But he very rarely throws over 85, 87 miles per hour. It's the curveball and the changeup. And normally, he'll throw it at any count.
Bullpen so far, and the inning work by Wheeler and Schaus has gotten it done with giving up just 1 hit.
Now he's going to fall off, but watch the front shoulder. Can he stay straight enough? And then little Mitch Williams there. Mitch Williams would go down on the dirt.
Wigginton 1 for 2 off Howell. Here's the 2-2 delivery to him, and outside. So he takes him 3-2. You got to believe Howell's a little rusty. I mean, it's not an extraordinary long time since the 6th, but for relief pitchers, generally you want them in at least once.
Yeah, you want to bring them in when they think they have the feel and touch to get the guys out, and that's been a stretch anyway.
3-2.
Yep.
Wigginton just kind of drops the bat. He is gone. 1 away, 9th inning. Updating you on the voting for the AT&T Player of the Game. Brignac way ahead with the big 4-hit ball game he's had. Upton and Crawford. You can text in your vote A, B, or C to 51862 and find out what the results are in the O's Extra post-game show.
Let's go back. Has to throw a strike with a 4-run lead, and he does. I think Ty thinking maybe waiting for Dale Scott, who has that little moonwalk. He'll take a couple of steps and then punch you out.
Jeff Fiorentino hitting ninth, a single, 1 for 3 in the ball game. The Orioles one extra base hit. Melvin Mora, 8th inning, and he was left stranded. That's going to be a base hit. Looped into left field where Crawford will get it back in, and a 2 for 4 ball game for Fiorentino.
Oh, he can loop them with the best of them. And he does it on purpose. I mean, this is his approach.
He has that big handle bat. He chokes up a little bit on it.
Inside out swing. Doesn't mean he can't pull the ball, but that's what you need. You're down by 4. I tell you what, Brooks Robinson, one of the great fielders of all time, one of the great guys, Hall of Famer. 2 outs, 1 out, down by some runs. Is going to be a single to center, just like cruise control. Just seemed like he could push the button. Didn't overswing. Just nice little, soft little line drive.
Just helped the club.
Yeah.
Brian Roberts with Longoria playing back showed bunt. Brian had a single his first time up. He is 1 for 3 in the ball game. So the Orioles get the order turned over here in the bottom of the 9th, trailing by 4.
And by doing that, you bring Longoria in a step or 2. That's the intent of bunting early in the count. No strikes.
Roberts 3 for 10, lifetime off J.P. Howell. 1-0 delivery. Strike on the outside corner. 1-1.
Yeah. Look at Brian. Well, it's been that strike zone all night. It's been big. And you don't have a choice. You just kind of resign yourself. It's Dale Scott's strike zone. That's the way it's going to be. You better live with it, because he is.
Fiorentino being held at first base. Here's the 1-1 delivery on the way, and that's going to be down low.
We talked to Joe Madden before the game, and we said, how did J.P. Howell get into this slump? And he said, it's just Ryan Langer's hand hit a good breaking ball. It just kind of kept it inside. He hit a home run to tie it up, and the next guy looped one in, and the next guy hit one, and all of a sudden he
lost his confidence.
Yeah, exactly.
Here's the 2-1 delivery on the way. Roberts takes it, and Howell's going to create some squirming over there on the Tampa bench.
Well, he's never been a stuff guy. He's a guy that has to throw his pitches, throw strikes. That's what he wants to do. But the problem, Gary, is that sometimes feel on the ball, squeeze it a little bit too hard when you're not going well.
3-1 delivery, Brian Roberts. He's taking. So Brian, on a 3-1 count, had no intention of swinging. He had the bat on his shoulder when that ball crossed the plate. Count goes to 3-2. J.P. Howell, the numbers by the opposing hitters have not been very high. 260 by the lefties, 161 right-handers against him. 3-2. One away. Fiorentino at first, not going. Roberts down to third, just foul. Back here tomorrow night, game 2 of this 4-game set, as Jason Birkin for the O's will be going after his 5th win against Jeff Neiman, the 12-5 rookie for Tampa Bay. 3-2 count on Roberts. There's Turris waiting on deck, and he got the walk, and the Orioles, with only one away here in the bottom of the 9th inning, will get the potential tying run out to the on-deck circle. And Madden, taking a look, has had enough. So Howell gets a strikeout, surrenders a walk and a hit, though. And Madden will have to either talk him into a better performance or take him out.
Well, they're just getting up and starting to throw in the bullpen, so this is not about that. There we go. Chad Bradford with the Orioles for a couple of years before he went to Tampa Bay. I think this is really coming out, and hey, relax. But you got to understand that if this was 5 weeks ago, 4-run lead, you never go out there. You wouldn't have to. But this was definitely, hey, just get us a couple outs.
Madden's got to be thinking, I've seen this before.
Well, he has.
During this 11-game losing streak. Here's his Torres. He's had a hit, 1 for 4 in the ball game.
7 of the 11 losses have been in the 8th inning or later. Well, there's a strike. I mean, at the end of the day, even if you're not a Blazer, J.P. Howell's got to trust his stuff, because he's about movement and location, and again, that great changeup. We haven't even seen the curveball. He's got a good overhand 12-6 curveball.
As Torres 1 for 2 off Howell. Runners at first and second. Fiorentino and Roberts. Good speed on the base pass for the Orioles. That ball to second base. Iwamura, Brignac, and this one's in the books. As Tampa Bay ends their 11-game losing streak, as they come in and get an 8-4 win. Price the winner 8-7. Hernandez the loser 4-8. There was no save.